Cool. We got that
All right,
side
we
live. Let me see if Rock fans ready. Come on, come on,
in.
come on. All right.
So Marcus, what's
Now,
up, man? How's your Saturday going, man? Good to see you as usual.
oh man, it's good, brother. It's good. How about yours? I see Yonina's in the building early.
Oh, what's going on, Yanina? What's up? No, weekend was good, man. Basketball all day. I just got home and ate. Finished eating not too long ago. So, we was on the road. The kids had their skills competition, 3-point shootout. They play in their All-Star game is in Miami next weekend. So,
Mm.
so it was
And that
cool. And
sounds like fun.
then we had a couple of games afterwards. So, we won all our games today, and a couple of our kids are going to Miami. So, today was
Nice.
actually a good day. It was
Yeah.
frustrating at first. Let me tell you, sometimes, I be wanting to choke a kid. I promise you, I do. I be wanting to choke out of them. But anyway, but when they listen, they're good. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but yeah, so other than that, same old. Work is busy as usual, and that's about it, man.
Yeah. I,
Oh no, everybody, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. We just shooting the shit, waiting for the good folks to get in
yeah.
before
Give
we.
me y'all a few minutes. Um. Good evening, Kat. But yeah, basketball wasn't the greatest for me this weekend. Seeing my team went down earlier today. Uh. But
Did they?
we can't. Yeah. Okay. We lost to Gonzaga.
Oh, didn't Kentucky lose too?
I think so.
Yeah, I heard everybody's. I didn't pay any attention to college basketball this year. I ain't even gonna lie. Trez, what's up, man? I ain't paying any attention to college basketball, so I'm way out of the loop. I don't have a bracket. I couldn't tell you who was who, what was what, nothing. I probably could tell you more about the women's side, actually.
I got to it a little bit late this year, but well, I knew we were in trouble. Our star player is down, so we barely won the last game against
What is he?
Samford, a team I've never heard of.
What
Uh,
what age is he?
oh,
Is a freshman,
I
junior?
think he's a sophomore. I think he's a sophomore.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have him back next year, and so
Okay.
it's all right. That's what I'm saying. Um, Teams who've won championships, they can't they can't bitch and moan the years they lose. You got to be happy for
Yeah,
when you do win. What's up,
yeah,
Atris?
without
Atris in the building. And I see starting off. I don't have I like to hit you guys with the news rundown. I don't really have much news rundown. I could tell you something that's off the news rundown side, entertainment related. Joffrey had Godfrey. I'm saying Joffrey. Godfrey had a recent interview on Club Shay Shay that it's pretty entertaining. I
oh
think people should
yeah,
check out. Um,
he
and then
did
of
good.
course Chris always be telling me about Candice Owens and the Joe Button, and I still ain't seen it yet, but obviously a lot of people were talking about it. People who don't normally talk about it. So it was interesting, and her Breakfast Club interview, which we'll get into that later on. But of course, oh yeah, I forgot I put that in there. We'll probably hit that one first. Don Lemon versus Elon. So our topics tonight, of course,
John, what's up?
Don Lemon, Elon Musk, Candace Owens, and of course, we got to talk about the terrorism attack that happened in Russia. So that's it.
So,
Um,
if I'll go on let me just say the Elon Don Lemon. Is
oh,
that where you
we
want to
gonna
go?
start off. We go. Hold on. Let me do this.
Oh, okay. I didn't know where
This rock fan. Let me do this rock fan comment, and then you can hop right on that. And shout outs to our people who coming in on the rock fan side.
Rockman folks. What up?
Geography Pro has already blessed us. He
Yo,
said the captured terrorists in Russia are allegedly from Tajikistan, yet one of them Russian. Atsyev has a Ukrainian ID and served military. Putin said Russia is officially at war with Ukraine and not referring
Whoa.
to it as not referring to it as a special military operation like he did in the past. Many believe that CIA is responsible for attack to provoke an immediate response from Russia and NATO, ready for World War III, more likely. We will definitely get more into that, and I will give my response to Geography Pro's statement slash comment there. But good insight, Geography Pro. But yeah,
Yeah.
Chris, your thoughts on the Musk versus Don Lemonhead?
I mean, first of all, what passes for entertainment isn't even really entertainment, right? So I didn't spend a whole lot of time on this. I saw a couple of questions. Elon Musk spoke like he literally spoke like one of the people on Twitter. He Every word he said was something he read on Twitter that he pieced together. You know what I'm saying? And it just sounded stupid. Again, they want to focus on America when they're talking about migrants and how they need to protect America. But whenever it comes time to talking about America and its systems as it relates to all of its citizens and its downfalls and pitfalls that it has for some and not others, then it's like, well, the rest of the world is messed up too. So it was stupid, as usual. Don Lemon, he serves a purpose. Clearly, he has an audience. I'm sure he has a what is it? He has a fan base, if you will.
Yeah,
However
the
small
the
it is,
Lemonheads.
certainly, yeah, certainly larger than this platform, right? Uh, but clearly, he's there to do stupid black shit. You know what I mean? And I mean that in the best possible way, if you understand what I mean. But I'm talking to you, so you know what I'm talking about.
Which Cat says Elon Musk is the soft shell of the elite agenda, while Klaus Schwab and the WEF is the hard sell with elite's agenda. David Icke is spot on with this analysis,
Streets.
which I definitely I need to go check out that David Icke interview. I mean, if he commented on it, which that kind of surprised me. Um, but oh yeah, shout out to John Hamza. What's up, Wheezy? So what I would say on that one is, for one, the whole idea of the interview was stupid. For Don Lemon, you're gonna go to the dude who owns the company and pretty much just try to kick dust in his face. That's like not smart already. Elon Musk has shown, if he's shown you anything, he's shown you he's one of the most thin-skinned people that you can deal with. The dude is gonna, if you say anything that he feels like he gets offended on, he's gonna take it personal. So if maybe that was Don Lemon's like master plan to go in there, and I'll say yeah to Don Lemon. I'll say yes to Elon just so I could, shit on him and score points with my people. My CNN liberals and moderates. Yeah, okay, then that makes sense. That's a good strategy. Um, but for Elon, for him even doing a deal with part of the stuff which he says, it's kind of frustrating to me listening to this because I'm like, he said that he wants to make this a free speech platform, which the whole idea of free speech is just idiotic. There's no true, real such thing as free speech. There's always some level of moderation. So there's not complete and total free speech, and it never has been, never will be.
Don't let the
So
moment don't let the current moment we're in be lost on that part either.
I mean, gosh
In
almighty.
relation
Oh,
to free speech.
it ties to so many issues. There's
Yeah.
never there's never
It
been a
is
such thing as free speech. It's
Doug, with
ridiculous.
Doug, the elephant in the room, the paint is starting to to thin out, right? And you're starting to see the elephant in the room and all these things.
Mm-hmm. That's one thing I've always known. Like certain people can say certain things, but even then they got to be careful. Think about it. If anybody who has an employer, you have a boss, you can't just come in one day and be like, "Ah, well, fuck you. You're a piece of shit." You're gonna lose your job.
Correct.
Technically, you're free to say it, but
There's
is it
consequences.
really free? Because you're paying for it. There's a consequence. You lose your job. That ain't entirely free because there was a consequence. There's a consequence for the words you have to say, then it's not free because you are paying for it. So
Hmm.
the whole idea of free speech just never made any sense. You say the wrong thing to somebody on the street and get punched in the fucking mouth.
Well, you know
Was your
what? Free
speech really
speech.
free? No.
Wait, what did they say? It's no fun when the rabbit has the gun, right?
Exactly.
So when you have the gun, then your speech is free. That's really
Mhm.
what it
That's the only
amounts
time.
to, right?
This is the only way. Um, Another thing that I would say about his like when Elon was like, well, I want to try to not like make this not a nonpartisan platform for so I can have some of the voices from the left. For one, in mainstream media, there is no voices of the left. And I know
No,
this
they
is
do.
something which cracks me up with conservatives because conservatives, a lot of them that'll be extremely far right, they think the left is the one who's moving further left. No, it's you. It's always been you who went further and further and further to the right while claiming it's the other people that's moving. Now, as far as single issue voters, single issues you can point to, like the whole trans LGBTQ community, you can say this group of people have moved and went what culturally more extreme. And I don't even really think that this is a left right issue. I think a lot of those people are single issue type people, and that's their main focus.
Hmm.
Uh, but if you take them out, then what's the next group? The woke people you call black community. Most of them they ain't been saying anything any damn different. It's probably now there's more of a platform for them to get their voice out. So it's not like anything has went more left. Things have went more right, if anything. And thinking that you're gonna try to bring on like open up the platform for the Don Lemons and possible Rachel Maddows, that's not the left. These people are liberals, plain and simple, just flat out liberals, moderates, borderline. Said Twitter is mad partisan. I am Miles Strong, Don't Lucre, all the anti-black videos. Damn, yeah. All you've done is just open up a floodgate for the underbelly of the right wing. So that's all I see. Well, not only the underbelly of the right wing. Well, I guess they technically would be the grifters too. All the ones who have the right wing grifts and all the ones who have a angle against somebody else, who have a hatred towards somebody else. That's all Twitter is turned into. So but go ahead, hop in.
Yeah, I wanted to say those accounts are some of them at least are accounts that Elon Musk regularly retweets. Right, he basically lives on the end wokeness page because every time I see him or somebody retweet something or reply to him, it's usually from end wokeness or some usual right wing conservative outlet that narrows all of their focus to racial and cultural animosities, right? And that's
Mm-hmm.
all he does. You notice he won't say anything about this. You notice he hasn't really made mention about anything Candice Owens related. So that was also telling. But the interview was it was a waste of time. It was a way for them to bring eyes back to Twitter. Not that people really left like that, but it was to get people. It was a stunt. You know what I'm saying? It was a rollout. Come check me out here. But from what I understand, that Don Lemon no longer has a show that's going to be
No.
on. Oh, okay, yeah. See, so he got
Well,
his
well,
moment.
that's why I said that this might be more of a master play for Don Lemon to get a boost to
To go
promote
back
his
on.
YouTube channel. No, he's
Ah,
creating his own YouTube. He has his own YouTube channel now, and
got
he's
it.
doing interviews on that. And so that helped him get a kickstart off. So all of the liberal audience that followed him
Got
on
it.
CNN, they'll know where to follow him at now. That's why I
Got
said
it.
that
And if
maybe this might have been calculated from Don Lemon's point of view.
yes, to make him look like a victim again. So because Americans, when it comes to entertainment, if they deem you to be a victim, they will support you. Even after they find out that you are lying and you're not a victim, they'll still
Well,
support
even
you
even
because
even
they'll
if it's
be
not
too
necessarily
brainwashed.
victim, it's standing up against the big bad meanie that we all don't
Yeah,
like.
and he kicked you off the platform, so I'm a victim. He let so and such stay, but what about him? You bully, you know what I mean? That's how they're gonna
Yeah.
frame it. And you poor thing, pobrecito. I need to make sure we support him. And then plus, he's of the Rainbow Coalition, so that will also bring with him a certain amount of people too. So he's got it. They're already in a grieved group. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I just think that, I mean, as far as anything that he pointed out that I agreed with him on is like when he pointed out about like hate speech rising on Twitter, which I've come to the conclusion for now on, I'm not even going to ever try to say X. I'm just going to call the shit Twitter because I know that how much Elon does not like it being called Twitter. That's
nah,
what I'm
man,
just
Twitter
going to
my
fucking
shit,
call it
B.
from now on. It's just fucking Twitter. Fuck that X
Yeah,
shit. It just sounds
I don't
stupid.
even. It's Twitter, dog.
And so, yeah,
Because you
and
still
all
say the
he
tweet because he used the term. He called it X, and what do you say? He X'd. Hey, did you read his X? That don't even
well,
sound right.
technically it has it on there as post now, but I'm like, ain't that the same
Oh,
shit that
every
Facebook did?
Instagram
It
used.
no, it's almost like what he's done is the stuff which was different on Twitter from Facebook. He just incorporated stuff Facebook was already doing. Like you can write
Okay,
unlimited messages. You can write a post with like 15 paragraphs on Facebook if
Facebook.
you want to. That's perfectly fine. All the picture stuff, all the stuff that he said that I edit this and this and this. This is just shit you could already do on Facebook. So I mean, I don't get how revolutionary any of the shit was. And then what you've kind of done when he says he doesn't he how he I'm not censoring anything. Well, you kind of are. You're shadow banning people's channels unless they want to pay you enough to get their voices out there, or if they have a big enough profile, you'll bend the rules and throw them in there, or you'll promote their shit just because they have a big enough name. And
Hmm.
I mean, the only thing I agree with is that there is a lot of rightful how will I say this? Rightful calling out and criticism of Zionism and Israel is permitted, even though Elon himself basically has done the walk of shame with all the Zionists he could. And but he kind of like, what is it called? Subcontracts it out to all his underlings online through like whether it's a Ryan Dawson or Adam Green, or they go and do it for him. Now, I'm not saying like specifically like they're getting walking orders, but if he can have larger accounts who will parrot what he really thinks, he could just like like retweet and not actually have to say it. But another thing he showed in this interview is if you deal with any of these type of people who are on Twitter, especially like you were talking about the in wokeness and all that, they can say this shit on Twitter because they have a large platform. But if you ever put them in a scenario where they actually got to go back and forth with somebody and debate out what they're talking about, it gets showed for the level of bullshit that it is. You start seeing all the holes through it. Because when he
Mhm.
hit him with oh well, do you think that people are actually getting through because they're dropping the standards and making it easier? Well, no, I don't. But if they did that, this could make things worse. Okay, those are ifs and ands. They're not fucking doing that. But you're making these posts and you're having people get on here and talk in hypotheticals as if it's the reality. That's what we're talking about. That you guys are spreading, like basically spreading misinformation. You're basically out there fucking lying to try to make things seem worse that you don't like. The Chris Rufo type mentalities. Oh well, if you talk about the bad stuff that happened in the past, it's going to, make people angry and it's going to keep us divided. No, we're already fucking divided. We've always been divided. What you don't get is you think if you cannot talk about a problem, the problem goes away. Um, I don't know in what reality that ever happens. You think you can come home at 4 in the morning and not explain to your girl why you came home and this just gonna go away? She just not gonna ask about it at all if you just don't talk about it? That's not how shit works in fucking reality. You can't just gloss over a problem and think it fucking goes away. And then when he said the shit, we all were slaves at one point.
That's what I'm
It,
saying. That is a common tactic that is used online whenever talking about American slavery. You mention American slavery, the default comeback to that is, oh, there's slavery was done by this. Arabs are worse. You sold your own people, etc., etc. You know
I want
when
to know when
the
Elon was a fucking slave. When, show me back to where and when, which part of your ancestry was slavery. Show me it.
but even if he was, it's kind of irrelevant to the topic of to the subject
Well,
of America, right?
well,
The
what,
United States of
what's it's
America.
true. It would be irrelevant to the topic of America in particular. But what I'm saying is, it goes to the point of, even on that point, even though we're not talking about America per se, even you trying to say that we're all slaves is bullshit.
Mm.
But what you're doing is you use that as a way
To
to
get out of
to,
the
to get
to
out
get
of
out.
it. That's your so-called, well, we all been through it, so why are you complaining, bitch? No, you didn't go through it. Stop fucking lying. Don't try to say you went through what I went through, so it negates what I went through. Don't do that. Especially when it was
There.
at the hands, especially like in South Africa. I'm pretty sure them South Africans are not like, yeah, all of us went through the same shit. He knows that's full of
Mhm.
shit. And he
Yeah,
uses
correct.
that same fucking colonizer mindset from South Africa and bonds with the white ignorance here in this country.
But that's what I'm saying. It's all that everything he said there is all Twitter talk because you see that all the time. And if you talk to people, you can usually tell what media they take in because certain sites, certain accounts, for years and years have been using the same talking points. Maybe they expand them at certain times, and maybe they um, decrease, shrink the circle a little bit at times, but it's usually the same 30 or 40 points that these accounts use. And that's what his response was based about. They always say that. But if we stick to America and how the American system worked, what its foundation was, what its outcomes were supposed to be, what it was planned for, then you would have a different conversation. But they don't want that conversation, and I don't know why. Because nobody is saying like you, Mr. 21st Century man, you did something wrong. Ain't nobody saying that. But we're just talking about the system really and how it works. You see the system when it comes to human trafficking. You all seem to care about a lot about kids, but a lot of y'all are pedophiles and harbor them. But that's neither here nor there. But I'm just saying, the conversation stays stuck on stupid when talking to people like Elon, who would keep retweeting end wokeness and Ian and the all those other accounts you see. And so I don't even let it get my blood pressure up. I just kind of laugh.
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I'm just saying, like, even even whatever CRT talk you have, what is
Oh yeah.
and I don't get what these people think that this is going to lead to. Do they really think it's going to result in like I made that TikTok video kind of like mocking it. What you think is going to be some kind of situation where all of a sudden the black students are like whipping white students? No, nothing's going to
Yeah,
happen
he
from it.
did streets. Mm-hmm.
None. I mean, y'all are just and it's almost it's reminding me of some other people right now because it's like y'all acting like y'all got to go over the top to try to stop something because y'all worried that it might lead to something else. We get it. Just because if many white people that went through what we did, y'all reaction would be way different. Don't mean we're gonna run like how y'all run. Don't mean that we're gonna do the same shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's all nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and look, it is what it is. You know, they'll both be okay. And you know,
Yeah.
Elon Musk gets a lot of money from the United States government, as we've mentioned, as have a lot of other commentators and just people in the news overall. Like, you know, he gets a lot of paper with the government. So clearly, he is largely a government employee. Yeah, Haiti is
Oh
a
yeah.
mess right now.
Well, here,
That
I'll say my last statement on that. Fuck Don Lemon. Fuck Elon Musk. I don't like neither one of them motherfuckers.
is,
That punk ass bitch liberal and this dumb. At least I would have more respect if Elon was like leading a discussion in something. All he doing is he trying to piggyback off of other people's stuff because it show he's not a smart guy. He's not intelligent.
off of
He's just a guy
off
who's
of
had
money.
money and who's been able to funnel that into other things. Just like let's say you can be a brilliant surgeon. That does not mean that that translates over into every avenue of your life. You can be brilliant in one area and be a dumbass in a whole lot of shit. And
Facts.
as Chris was saying, this dude is one of the biggest parts of the so-called deep state, and I think that's his whole purpose in this whole X circle is to flip this whole thing to being just another arm of the government, just like Facebook is becoming, just like all of these social media arms are meant to basically convert to another means of surveillance, control, and monitoring of the whole general population. So
And
that said,
Shep
he's a pawn in the WEO's playbook and
and he's
controlling,
a
and he's a piece of shit racist at the same time.
and you know what, he's just a sheep herder, right? Because his audience, oh my God, they're the most gullible audience in the entire country. They are the most gullible and the loudest about knowing everything, while they know less than half of it.
Yonina,
So
I would disagree there. You said Elon is stupid and evil, but he isn't a fool. No, he is actually a fool. I'm gonna tell you why. If you can take any dumbass and make them a figurehead and and work things out, that doesn't mean that that figurehead is smart. Um, he's think about it. This man got his money from his father's emerald mine. That's where the bulk of his money is. He got in with other partners and invested that money he got from his father's inheritance. Then the money that he got from that, then he funneled that into his next business, which was an already established business, and he just had the capital to come in and buy it up. That took it up a couple of notches until he funneled that into his next avenue. So all he's done is taken other people's money and funnel that into projects. And I guarantee you, I know this audience here. If I gave anybody in this audience, if I had the means to give, of course, if I gave y'all $30 million over a 20-year period, majority of y'all would be running around ruling something. Y'all be running something. Y'all would have, I don't know what business it would be, but y'all would have chains of whatever. Y'all would have this set up, that set up. And I just want people to not misconstrue just because a person with money was able to funnel that into something else to making more money, that they're unique and especially brilliant. Most people, if you put them on third base, they can make it a home. That's how I see the Elon Musks and the what's the name, the goofy ass Bill Gates and all of these rich motherfuckers. A lot of them got a handout, and people. And this is my problem with a lot of Trumpers. This motherfucker was given money from his father and lied about a whole bunch of shit at the same time. It's not like Trump was some brilliant businessman. In fact, I used to study into Trump, and a lot of Trump's business came from the fact that most of the big business real estate guys in New York already owned all these other properties. They were a little snobby about the shit. He went around kikiing with their wives to find out all the properties that they're not dealing with. So he got inside dirt and then just went around buying up all what they consider the garbage properties.
That's great business.
That
That's
doesn't
how
make
it
you a
would be
fucking
looked at.
genius. That does not make you a genius, though.
To some people, it will, though.
If that's a genius, then give me some money and see what the fuck I'll do with it.
Hey, go
You
find
want to see a
somebody.
real goddamn genius?
No, I mean, I understand. You know what I mean?
These motherfuckers, they bar be so fucking low in what they think is brilliant or a genius.
Correct. Yes, that's why I was saying the last week or two, like these are really stupid people. I mean, I don't say that just as a off the cuff remark. No, they really are. You know, which kind of makes me want to go into the Candice Owens shit. You know, did you
Oh yeah,
see
yeah.
all?
I'm ready. Yeah, we can get into Candice
Yeah, are
Owens.
you
What's up? What's up, Nut Ram?
so?
Peace, Dub.
Are
What's
you
up?
are you up to date with everything that's happened over the last, like, let's just say 5 to 7 days?
I've been following the whole Candice Owens stuff pretty thoroughly. Now I haven't seen every interview she's done, but oh yeah, I know from like because when I start paying attention to it was when she first started having that spat with Ben Shapiro, and he was getting
Okay.
called out in his audience about her speaking the way she was, and he basically kind of, in arrogant rich people term, called her a dumbass. But so I've been pretty much, because from that moment on, I'm like, and I just want to say this: a lot of people are like, see, I told y'all this was going to happen. Anybody that saw that this black woman, even though she a coon, anybody that saw this black woman is going to shit on Ben Shapiro and come after Zionists, if you didn't know her ass was about to lose her job eventually, then you are not very good at this job. That should be one of the easiest things to predict, that you can't not sit there show after show after show after show and come after Zionists and think you're going to keep your job, even though those
On
same
their
Zionists will
network.
turn around and say,
On
"Well,
their network.
it's anti-Semitic to say that we have this power." Motherfucker, you're the one people that everybody knows that you will lose your job faster than anything talking about a damn Zionist.
You know, this thing with Candace Owens, what it did for me personally, it just affirmed what I already knew to be true. Is that if you want to, as a black person, if you want to make money in the media space, you need to go into conservative media, and you need to be extremely negative and disrespectful towards black people. The Zionists will pay you large money to talk to the white Christian audience. Isn't that how this is amazing how it works? You gotta look at it and see how the puppet master understands you on a psychological level, right? Because they know what that audience wants. They know that you as the individual need money, and they have the network to get everybody to pay attention to, so they can run their ads and take more money from you. So with that being said, it proves as a black person you can get on these networks or these these channels, Daily Wire, what have you. If you are highly critical of black people, you will get a check, and that check will be nice. You will get brought around like a nice poodle or some shit like that, right? Or one of them little dogs these women stuff into their bags. They'll carry you around to their dinner parties. They'll introduce you to their friends and all this shit like that. They'll even maybe even give you a credit card to use every once in a while. You understand? But you must stay in your lane, and you must never, ever, 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 ever in your life mention anything about us. You stay in your lane. So as you said, Marcus, going, to dovetail it to you, you know what I mean? She started talking about Israel. She started even being slightly critical of their actions this time around in Gaza. Clearly, that's a problem. She beefed with the two rabbis. That was an issue. Despite the rabbis being arrogant, calling her a nigger, all this shit like that. You notice they didn't. I don't know how true that was, but
I
if
think
it
they
was,
came out like Shmuley said that it was like AI, like they faked that. Like he claimed he didn't say that.
okay. So because no one. Okay, so I won't even use that, right? Because we can't verify whether or not it's true. However, this also further proves the point that the Zionists run all of the media. It doesn't matter how big or small. You notice they will talk about everything except affairs there, and this is even prior to October. Marcus, this kind of brought it home for me. Did you see the video this week going around with the lady in Queens where the squatters ran in her crib? Did
Was that the
anybody
one they
see that?
found in the suitcase?
No, no, no. A woman's mother passed away, left her the house. She went to the house to go take care of it. And when she went there, the squatters were there. She kicked the squatters out. The police came, got rid of the squatters. As soon as the cops left, the squatters came back, forced their way back into the house. She got into it with them. The police were called back, and she was arrested for trying to get the squatters out of the house.
Sounds about right. New York
Okay,
does
so I
some weird
don't know
shit.
if yeah, I should pull up the video. But anyway, even because it was probably migrants and it was New York, the right wing on Twitter, they picked up on this, right? And they're like, oh, this is messed up. Even some guys wearing some Trump gear kind of went to the crib after and tried to get the dudes out of there or tried to talk to them, right? I think they even got arrested. Anyway, Warren, what's up, man?
Yeah,
Uh,
what's up, Warren? We need to get him back on here soon.
But that is the same exact thing that happens over there in Gaza and the West Bank. It's a lot in the West Bank, more so than Gaza. More where these Europeans go there, the people are out at the market or some shit. They come back to the house, and you have these Europeans standing in their yard telling them that you can't come in here. So it's ironic that you are worked up over a squatter situation here, but you gladly give money and aren't at all critical towards squatters on the other side of the world. I would say you shouldn't care, but you claim to care about American finances when it comes to welfare. So I'm just saying, if you was worried about welfare and benefits to people who are undeserving, why wouldn't you say anything about the benefits and welfare that your money is going over there? You know what I mean?
Oh
You
yeah.
should be concerned with it.
If somebody did want to sponsor, hey, Mr. Streets know what it is. But yeah, I mean, on that point, I look at it like this, and you know what, y'all know that I tend to be a little bit more diplomatic sometimes, and I'll say, even if you're not gonna say, even if you'll say, you know what, Zionists, Israelis, whatever, that they don't control the media, you cannot sit there and tell me that they do not have a overwhelming level of power. You cannot, if you're gonna say that that's not true. Oh, it's just a weird coincidence. If you're not even going to admit that to me, then I know that you're not intellectually honest. I mean, and I could agree with some. I could, well, not agree, but I can deal with you better if you just be somewhat straight up with me. And that's the problem with a lot of these people. They think that nobody sees through the bullshit. That's where the issues come in with a lot of these people. I mean, one of the things which I've noticed is more and more I'm starting to see other channels who are like waking up to the reality of what's been going on and the strong influence in the media, the strong influence that you're seeing in politics from the like look at how many politicians get APAC money. Actually, no, look up how many don't get APAC money. I don't know
Correct.
what 535 members of Congress. Look at how many have not gotten an ounce from APAC. I mean, shit, one of them took it so far, an American, not even Jewish, took it so far to wear IDF uniform. I mean, really? An IDF uniform? So how what would that look like if somebody showed up with an Iranian uniform on one day in Congress? They probably get censured for that. And what it is so many people just like are so blinded to it or refuse to call it out. And it's like it's kind of like, that dude. And it's like y'all sit there and y'all see that. It's kind of like sitting in a room and y'all seen this girl come in because I'm just related how I relate best. Men, we all have the ability a lot of times. We don't even have to know each other. We can all see something, and all of us know what the hell we saw. Something come in there, it might be three, four ladies walk through the room, and every dude in there look around at each other. What that look like? Yo, you see that? We all know what each other were looking at. But you bring a woman in there sometimes, and they be like, I don't know what anybody's talking about. Look over where? Over where? I'm like, bitch, look right there. Right there. You can't see that right there. Look. I'm sorry, y'all. But this situation is the same way. Everybody all see what's going on, and we see what's walking right past us. But everybody want to pretend, man. I don't even know what's going on, man. See them cobwebs up on them. Wow, man, they need to clean that shit over there, man. You see what's right in front of you, but we all want to play this fucking game like we don't know what's going on. And
that was good.
That's my frustration with a lot of these people. You're gonna sit there and tell me like, oh, you see all of these members of Congress all get funding from APAC, right? The one person who will mildly criticize APAC or Israel, they'll be pushed out of office. Then you look at MSNBC, CNN, all these shows. Look at the nationality of the anchors. Start looking through here, and you start noticing a pattern. Then you go over to like the NBA, for instance. Look up the list of the commissioners. Well, the NBA has had 5 commissioners in its history. 3 of them are Jewish. Are y'all? I mean, you look at the Supreme Court. You look at this. You look throughout all these different things, and then you look at the military. All the countries that the U.S. have fought just so happen to be people who Israel has a problem with. Y'all don't.
Especially
come on.
Since
It's
9/11.
Too many fucking coincidences. This is too many coincidences for y'all to not catch on to what the fuck is going on.
Especially since 9/11.
But nobody sees the shit. What's up, Gregory? What's up? Gregory's in the bed. Oh yeah, by the way, shout out to Gregory. Shout out to his lovely wife also. I gotta make sure to shoot Gregory a text. I completely forgot about it. I've been so busy. I'm like, damn, he sent me his number on one of these sites. I gotta remember which one he sent me his number on. But yeah, I met up with Gregory what was it, last week? Had some drinks, had a good time. I will make sure to definitely do that again. But shout out to my boy Gregory over there. But on this Israel thing, it's just too much shit that I'm like, how do y'all not see this? And especially for any of y'all who grew up in areas different than me, meaning I grew up. In fact, y'all, man, man, this story, something I just thought about. Remember, I've said many a times, like, if I grew up around Jewish people, I didn't even know that they were Jewish. Well, you know what? One of these very seminal racist incidents that happened in my young teenage life, I didn't even know it was a Jewish girl. Did not know it until I was just on I was on Facebook. See my old friend Sarah. Oh shit, Sarah, what's up? And
That
then I
name
just happened
Sarah
to
alone.
see, huh?
The name Sarah alone. Hello.
Man, I didn't know none of that shit back then. I didn't connect none of the stuff. And if I said her full name, then you'd be like, oh man, why didn't you know that?
Yeah, because
But
it's probably Berg, Baum, Gold, Silver,
I'll
Steen.
just say it's
Like,
Eastern European. I'll leave it at that.
yeah. I mean, I'm just saying.
Had no clue. Had no clue.
Look, I told you the building I lived in New York for a while. The whole directory was like that. Then my last name. The whole shit. That's how I know all this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
You
and
know
yeah,
this.
it was she told me this is. She said her father said, "Mm-mm, no, 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 that can't happen." To me, hey, you just another white person. All I know is that was another white person. White people be racist sometimes. And you grow up in the Midwest. You got plenty of white racist people, so you don't think nothing past it.
You know, Marcus, isn't it ironic that I was saying that, a lot of the Black Americans in the media space, right? A lot of them, once the situation in Israel popped off, they was just kind of like, well, I'm just gonna mind my business. They ain't got nothing to do with us. We just trying to focus on ourselves and da 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 blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept saying, okay, fine, you can take that position, but just know they're gonna come after you. Here we are, months and months later. I'm not saying that I'm Nostradamus or nothing like that, but it was just very obvious to see where it was going, that they was going to come for one of you. The only reason why the uproar isn't more because Candice, thoroughly pissed off most Black people with her tirades and her comments and
Well,
her content.
that's where she fucked herself
Yeah,
because she should have been before that. She had to know what was coming. She had to know what was
it's not
eventually going
a
to come. You
it's not a coincidence.
you can't be with
It's not
turning points, and you can't be with what was that fake
Charlie
ass
Kirk.
school? What was that fake ass school? PragerU. You can't be with PragerU and then go with Charlie Kirk and then get with the Daily Wire and not have some clue as to what the fuck was going to happen to you eventually. You start stepping on the rail of talking about Zionism or talking about just Israel in general. But you burnt up every ounce of credibility you did with the Black community, so you
So
don't
that's
have no
why I'm
backing.
saying it's
Now,
not a
I'm not
coincidence.
I'm not gonna say that she couldn't in time possibly get that back because I think it's never too late for people to wake up and turn the fuck around. But that don't mean we just open up our arms, open arms to you to come back. You gotta like prove yourself first.
The other thing I don't like about her is that she talks black this, black that, black this, black that, black this. Shorty, you don't deal with any Black people who you're not related to. You're one of those like
If she even deal
I,
with them.
I saw all the pictures that people posted from the wedding and all that shit. Dog, somebody commented, and I quote, it's like, where's Waldo for Black people? Like, literally, you had to zoom in on the picture and be like, okay, there's one, there's two here in the corner. And it was just like the whitest of white, blonde hair, blue eyes, probably from England, probably a lot of her husband's friends, because I believe he's British. So, it was that whole thing. So I would love for someone to ask her this, because they love to say this. So, Black father's not in the house. Black father's not in the house. So are your kids messed up because there's not a Black father in the house?
I
Right?
mean,
I mean, it's just stupid, the shit
well,
that she
well,
says.
well see, people think like that her anti-black kind of rhetoric that comes from it just comes from the pay or it comes from being over there. But actually, I don't think that's the case. I think she's one of them suburban black girls who grew up mostly around white people and always kind of had a little bit of a disdain for the black community. And she
And
grew
she
up
questioned
looking from
it.
the outside and never, she didn't know about like the old black lady in the neighborhood who take care of all the kids and all the kids hang out at her house, and
But I think
she
she's from.
or the big mama who always got a play for everybody. All she see is some thugs on the corner and they're all selling drugs and baby mamas, and that's all she relates to the black community. And so I don't, that's the reason why I feel she has that vitriol, and it's a genuine vitriol. I don't think like it's being paid. I think she naturally already came with that. That's why it was like, okay, we can mold
No,
this one.
she was born in White Plains. She grew up in Stanford. Yes, her day to day was very much around Caucasians, right? But the sound, the sights of others was very close, right? That's within earshot of the city, right? So she's not totally ignorant to it, especially during that time period when everybody's is jacking our swag, right? Especially late '90s hip hop, all that shit. You know what I mean? So there's no way that she didn't know about anything. You know what I mean?
No, no,
Again,
no. You can know adjacently. You can sit from the outside and see the hood, but you don't know the real interactions of being in the hood unless you go to the hood.
hold on one second. You heard that? I got a
Uh
knock
huh.
at my door. It sound
Yeah,
like the
I
damn
got you.
police.
Yeah. So, but like what I'm saying is like you can very easily like sit adjacent to the hood or drive past an area. That does not mean that that gives you an understanding of the people and what their morals and values are like. Just like even some of the loudmouth black women that I knew in the hood. From the outside exterior, you just see this woman who yell and talk rough to damn near everybody, but you don't realize how sweet that woman actually is sometimes, and how they take care of the people in their household, how they the one who go without for so many other people. And all you're getting is this aspect, this shell of her, because she's having to do so much and she keeps that hard exterior to protect herself from being violated anymore. And that's not often factored into people's analysis when they look at people from the outside. They don't know about like I put it this way. There were people in my neighborhood, that did things that were outside of the law. Does that mean that they didn't do everything in their power to try to take care of like their grandmother who was sick, or take care of their kids, or do this or do that? You don't know the full aspects of people, and it's easy to get these snap judgments not knowing a person's reality. You don't know if a person's, we really don't know a lot of these people, what they grow up and what they go through. And so it makes a big difference and that's what I'm saying. When you sit on the outside from the suburbs and you just passing in and out, I mean, I can pass through this country town and just think, oh, everybody is uh some hillbillies or rednecks or whatever. Until you sit down and engage with these people, you don't know how these people tick. You don't know what makes these people tick. You don't know how they really are. It's easy to get snapshots. That's all I'm saying. Oh yeah, I forgot to shout out. What's up, E. Heller? I think that's Ed, right? Yeah, Ed. Oh, that's right. I need to chit chat with him, Warren, and I need to get all y'all on here together. But
No, that was my
oh,
homeboy. He did a solid. He
okay.
Now my homeboy hit up the meat market, pause, and he just dropped off.
He dropped y'all
Some
some meat.
groceries.
I
Yeah,
understand.
see, Paul. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Calm down. Calm down.
You want to loan some meat.
See, I knew I shouldn't even have said nothing. I knew that shit was gonna go bad.
Oh man.
But my homeboy looked out. I was like, okay, he must have robbed a truck or something. But hey, look, I ain't gotta go out.
Oh boy to the max, right? He'd be like, to the max. He'd be like,
Yeah, so I
shit.
ain't gotta go to the store for a
Damn.
minute now. At least not for that. So I'm good now. But anyway, so Candice, I don't feel bad for her. she put herself, she isolated herself like that. But look, at the end of the
Yeah,
day, I
yeah,
know
yeah. I agree.
her husband is connected to her husband is connected to Parliament in some way, shape, or form in England. So money is not an issue for them. She's going to be fine. She will
I
also
thought
find
she
a
was about
way
to say
to.
the Funkadelic. No, I'm just playing.
Yeah. But no, her husband is connected. You know what I'm saying? So money is okay. She'll find a way to squeeze money out of, the simpletons who will follow her and who will now also view her as a victim. It is not. I want to end it on this. It's not a coincidence that she did Joe Budden's show and she did the Breakfast Club right before she was canned. That's not a coincidence that she decided to do
Mm-hmm.
that at that particular moment in time for her, because she had every opportunity to try to talk to anybody. She could have approached people. She chose not to. Maybe people were too pussy to talk to her. I don't know, but it helped, because now you see, at least online, some people are, oh my God, I never really listened to her. She's not that bad. I agree. Black fathers, strong families, the same stupid talking points that, that people fall to. You know what I mean?
Like, hey, Yanina put it there at the bottom. You should have just came in and said, "We have the meats."
I know. You know what? I forgot, man.
Ah, man. And shout out to Nick Cruz. Um, dang, let me see if I can find that. I saw
Thomas,
it on
exactly.
Savvy.
Thank you, Thomas. Candice
I
is a
saw,
professional grifter. She'll be just fine. Exactly.
yeah. Oh, I definitely believe that. Let's see, Revolutionary Blackout. Um, and I just want to share this one clip if I can find it, if it don't take me too long, on his hot shots. Savvy showed it. Actually, never
So
mind. I'll just skip to it. Huh?
Marcus, we should detonate this channel, dead it, and come back as two Negro hating Negroes. You know what I mean? Like Uncle Ruckus and his nephew.
I mean, hey,
That's
we
what we
hey,
should do, because we'll get paid. We'll get picked up
we,
real quick.
well,
We'll be
that's the
viral.
thing.
People will be like, yo, who are these two guys? They'll be telling people to listen to us like they tell me to listen to Candice Owens. They'll be like, hey, you ever listen to that guy, Cy Lawson and Marcus? They make a lot of
Mhm.
sense.
I think, like, well, not like I think. I know for a fact the money is on the right. If you really want to make that money, be a black
Yes.
person going against black people.
Yes.
That, whoo, and I'm not talking about just, oh well, I'm randomly have a Twitter beef with this person or that person. I'm talking about the black community. If you
Yes.
beef on them as a whole, and the thing about it, don't get me wrong, I have my critiques of the black community. Don't get
Facts.
me wrong at all. But that don't mean I'm about to sit on here and blast them to everybody else. And even if I do call them out when I do,
And not
that
only,
don't mean you're gonna be immune from the smoke either. Because that means that I'm firing both barrels at everybody. That's metaphorical, of course. But that means no community is off the hook for any criticism. Which
but if you
that's
do
the
it
problem.
singularly,
That's the problem with these black conservatives. They're gonna get on there and they're gonna find every negative thing to shit on the black community about. But I just white people, that was a isolated incident, and when it's something bad against Asians or bad against anybody, oh, these are isolated incidents. It's not a community problem. Even though, like I said earlier when I was listening to Convo Couch, I put in there, you can't trust none of these black leaders, because it was an interview with the leader of the Uhuru movement who was talking to Tucker. There are no leaders of the black community. The black community is splintered into tons and hundreds, probably thousands of different subcultures. And so you have maybe the leader of this movement or leader of that movement. Like you can have a Tariq
leader
Nasheed
of
who
that
he
sub
got his
movement.
people. Yeah, he got his people. You got Dr. Umar, he got his people. You got, not even, like, for instance, like Hebrew Israelites. each one of these different camps have their own in particular leaders. And you get into these abo movements, aboriginal movements, each one of them got their leaders. When you get into this Kemet stuff, they got their own separate leaders. When you get into the black leftists, or not black leftists, the black communists and all that, they got their people who they look to. When you get into the people who were just worried about Pan-Africanism, they got their different leaders. Black academics, they got their leaders. Black Republicans, they got their leaders. The older civil rights era who's still caping for, whoever's still left.
Democratic Party politics.
They got their leaders. So there's no way you're reaching, and you even got the ones who are into the damn the sexy reds and all this shit. You got them who got their own little culture and movement, and they into what they into.
You got the hip. It's like hip hop, right? You have hip hop, but you have some people who would hate a sexy red because it's not, anything educational or it's not, because it's not, highbrow, high art, rap. But then you got people who love that and then would say maybe somebody like Black Thought just uses too many words that I don't even understand, right? So you have, like you said, you have your different, groupings even within hip hop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, within all of these, and honestly feel like that's part of the design from
you
the
ever
people
been swallowed?
That's another group that you
That's
got.
another group, right?
You got the Black Christian community, the Black church, and then that breaks into whether you are Protestant, whether you are Baptist, Pentecostal, AME Zion, and you even got the Black Catholics. So we got a whole bunch of different groups, and then you got people who are we're Black Caribbean, so we only mess with other, Barbados, St. Thomas, Jamaica, Afro Latinos. We only really mess with this group. And the thing about it is, when you already have a group of people, as far as the Black community as a whole, who don't have much power, who virtually have no power, who are segmented in all these groups, nothing you do as far as speaking to any leader has any real relevance, because it's the equivalent of just talking to any random person in the community. And all of us got a gazillion opinions, and it's not like you can get one who's going to be able to speak to the masses. And that was a big part of what the civil rights and COINTELPRO was successful at doing, completely obliterating any kind of Black solidarity.
Well, also too, it was a lot different too, because prior to the civil rights bill, most of the Black people here were Black Americans. After that, once the doors open up to the country, then you do have a mixing of different Black people, and the Black people who do come in, they are not they don't have the same views, they don't have the same experience. Their grandma, their grandpa doesn't have the same experience here in America, right? They have.
You're talking about like the Black. You're talking about like Black immigrants, like Africans.
Yeah, whether they're from a country in Africa, whether they're from a country in the Caribbean, or whether they're somewhere from Central or South America, when they come here, that's not to say that their history isn't bad, but it's not the unique American experience. So they get grouped in with Black people, and then we try to say, oh, why can't all Blacks get along, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody, these people are from different places. They're not all the same. They don't view things the same. So that is a distinction.
Different places.
People,
yeah.
And that's a distinction a lot of people don't understand whenever they say, well, why don't they, it's deeper than rap.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point that you brought up, because especially when you talk about the Black immigrant culture, like say for instance, I'll say Nigeria for instance. Nigeria had just as bad of a history as Black Americans, but it's a different history. It's different enemies. It's different problems, and so therefore though both of them have dealt with all kind of different things, they don't see eye to eye because they don't understand each other's issues. A lot of those, like a Nigerian gets over here, and some of the stuff that was a problem for them over there is not a problem for them once they've gotten here. And we
Mm-hmm.
don't understand the stuff that was a problem for them over there. So therefore, headbutting that you have. Then you take, especially like what Chris was talking about, Central America or South America. Now you're throwing in language barriers also, and because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of different African immigrants come in and they do, if they don't already speak English, they a lot of them learn it fairly quickly. I very rarely ever met an African who didn't speak English,
Correct.
or at least kind of broken English. But
Yeah, no,
you
they
do,
tend to
yeah. The most Africans I met typically speak multiple languages. I mean,
mm-hmm.
we're talking about probably like five
At
languages.
least like
So
3 or 4. Yeah.
yeah, so that's
Most
not.
Af-
Mhm.
most people I've met from the continent, most of them that I know who I'm cool with, they speak at least 3 or 4 languages.
Yeah, and but Afro Latinos a lot of times, because you got to remember they fought so hard a lot of times in these different countries to be recognized as Latino, to be recognized as part of that community. When they get here, it's hard to just automatically wipe that away and I'm just my skin color now. And Black Americans don't get that transition, that battle that's going on there. They look at, well, I'm black, so you're black, so that's all it should be, and they don't realize like, yo, in my country, I couldn't just be black. That's not, I mean, that's like saying, you know what? I'm not a part of my society. I don't connect to this culture. I'm basically the same as a foreigner. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's why some people don't get why they'll have these issues with Dominicans, or some of these issues they'll have with Black Colombians or Black Brazilians or some of these people. They don't get the difference and the just what went on in some of these countries and how they're treated and how the history. And so when you say the Black community and you mismatch Black immigrants and all these people, there's no leader that you can speak to. And tying this back to Candice Owens, I think she's pretty much pissed off every aspect in every one of those sub communities,
Yeah,
even her
for sure.
Caribbean background. So, you know, I
You know,
think
that's the
only people
mark.
she got is
That's
Black
the,
Republicans. And
that is the issue I do have with some Caribbean communities and some African communities. You know, and of course I'm smart enough to know it's not everybody, and it's probably not even a majority of them. It's probably less than half, right? But those of them who come from there who look down upon Black Americans, you know, I'm glad the children don't feel like that, but everybody's auntie and uncle and grandma and grandpa who feels that way, you know, that's ignorance, you know what I mean? And we should not perpetuate ignorance. You know, I'm not saying everybody has to be besties. I'm saying you don't
mhm,
have to be hostile towards each other. We
yeah,
don't have to be friends, but we don't have to be plotting on hurting each other. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
there's a distinction between saying, all right, I see them over there, I don't fuck with them, versus yo, when I see them, it's on and popping. You ready, son? Yo, you got the mask B, yo, we out. You know, it doesn't
mhm,
have to be that way.
yeah. And Gregory brought up a good example. He says Candace Owens has a parachute for show, and I agree. She got a parachute. I mean, think
Yeah,
about it.
she
Her
married
YouTube
him.
channel, her YouTube channel alone is already, she's got what 1.5 million subscribers on that already. So
Mhm.
I mean, plus when you get to that level, when you get your name out there, you can completely tear yourself down and reinvent. But and your name is out there though. And as long as
Mhm.
you have a name, you're always going to be able to garner enough attention to get an audience. The goal is about keeping you from not getting that name. But the conservatives have already fucked around and gave her a name. And so they can't tear her down at this point. Oh, but what? Oh, that thing that I was bringing up about Nick, I was going to try to find. I couldn't find because somebody said it in there too. There was like Nick Cruz has been on fire. and I'll give him credit. I mean, so much credit for this. He clipped this segment from her last show, and I think not enough attention's being brought to that. And I don't watch Candice Owens. I'll admit, if I see somebody who I follow or that I listen to, and they bring up a point, I'll go from there. But what was said there, she said, in the next coming weeks, she was going to take a hiatus anyway. So this is even before the firing was going to happen. She was going to go to Israel and Gaza so she can see things with her own eyes. I just happen to think the Daily Wire was not about to let her come back after being able. Now, I wonder if they're going to allow her into the country anyway. I don't think they're letting her in Israel. But I mean, I do think that she may possibly be able to go into Egypt and get close to Gaza and at least see or talk to some people on the ground. Now, I don't think she got the nerve to really go into Gaza. I mean, we're talking about an open war zone, if you want to call it a war. I mean, basically like a straight bombing field. But
Killing field.
But I don't see her going all the way to. But a lot of times you don't even have to go all the way in. You can just get close. You can get to Egypt. You can go into Jordan and talk to enough people there who are going to give you the real 100% facts on what's going on there. Now, Israel, I see no possible way they letting that woman come in the country. Her ass is already flagged because not only is, sorry about that. Not only is Rabbi Shmuley is probably been on the lines calling every possible person he can to go after her and basically rallying the lynch mob along with Jonathan Greenblatt and that rabbi dude that she had on the last interview. Because that's the thing. A lot of times it might not even be the one who's the rah in the media screaming about you, the Rabbi Shmuley. It might not even be Jonathan Greenblatt. It could be the dude that she was last on with, and she made him look bad. And he's like, oh, I'm going to fix her ass. And he's made it his mission to get her up out of there. Because I said Reverend Shmuley, Rabbi Shmuley, sorry. Well, he ain't really even a rabbi. I don't know what the hell he is. Just a con man, really. But the fact that Ben and Ben, I'm pretty sure he been putting the heat on oh boy, the CEO, like, yo, we need to get rid of her. Just at what point are we going to get rid of her? And I think this last thing about her wanting to go to Israel, Palestine, and they don't want to have her on their platform, basically giving true accounts, direct accounts, or even having video of what people in Gaza are saying. Now they know they can't stop it if she does it on her own channel, but at least they wasn't about to have that on the Daily Wire because they don't want their people who they haven't convinced to not listen to her to start listening, because then that starts to make them have to answer some hard questions. And I think that's a big part of it. So that's what I was trying to mention, the video that Nick, and if you think it's on his Hot Shots, so check that one out. But yeah, I think that's the big part of why there was like, I think that was kind of that barrier that they was like, yeah, okay, yeah. We gotta pull the plug. And I mean, for those who don't know about Shmuley, we talked about him a little bit last week. Look back to, he was around Michael Jackson when he was having some issues. And if y'all think about his one song, Michael Jackson, a man not known for being this provocateur as far as language. In one of his songs, I won't say what he said, but y'all can go back. Oh, that's who I think of all the time whenever I see Shmuley.
When you look at Shmuley, this is what he looked like. This dude right here.
That is who I think. Grill door.
I don't know. I can't remember what his name was, but
it was Grill Door. It's like,
Okay, yeah,
yeah,
Grill Door.
He-Man. Yeah, that's Grill Door.
Yeah, if you saw the He-Man movie, he's the dude who made the thing with the keys with the sound that allowed them to travel back to Eternia. Yeah, that was him. And if you look up Shmuley, it looks like him. Except this guy looks a little bit better because you expect this guy to look like this. Shmuley looking the way he does, there's no excuse for it. You know what I'm saying? It's just you know.
Jordan says check the link above compared to this picture. But I guess I don't know. Maybe it was a link in there, Chris.
Oh no! Oh damn! I should have clicked that. I already clicked out of it.
Yeah. Click it. Yeah. Pull that back up. It'll be a good. Says it'll be a good chance to mess with Nick a little. I don't know what that was with Nick. But what was that?
And I think he may have put the link in the chat, right? Because I didn't see it. I'm back on the page. I
Oh,
don't see a link.
yeah. YouTube must have blocked him from allowing the link. In fact, I wonder if I can just find that. Yeah, or just type in Rabbi Shmuley and Grill Door He-Man.
Yeah, let me go to Twitter because Twitter got it. They was posting it there.
Yeah, I saw it. I was like, man, that comparison is so perfect. So perfect. Such a gross human being. What the hell happened? Fact. Yeah. Candice
That dude is
50 something.
but and yo, I don't know if we talked about it, but it come to find out he runs a sex shop with sex toy spot with his daughter. Again, that's weird as fuck, though. I mean, I have children, I have sons. We would do a lot of business together, but I wouldn't be interested in running any kind of sex business with my sons. I'm sorry, much less my daughter. And we talking about dildos stocking up. Yo, you got the 12 inches pause. You understand? Like, that shit just don't even sound fucking right. You know what I mean? It's not even fucking, like, moral. You know what I'm saying? So,
and he's proud that he turns it around and it says "Made in Israel" on the side.
yeah, like you proud? Word? You a weirdo, B.
Wow, yeah, Twitter the way it's gotten, man, you can't even. You gotta be careful. Like, good thing I search for anything on Twitter before I share my screen, cause man, whoa, you type in the wrong thing and just anything come up on this thing.
Yo, there's a lot more porn on Twitter now. All of a sudden, it just randomly come out. I don't follow any of that shit on Twitter, and I just be seeing people like say certain shit, and I'm like,
yo, it's unavoidable now. It is unavoidable on this site, which is kind of weird to me, being that conservatives tend to not like. They tend to be against all of this type of stuff. Well, they claim to be.
No, they not. Utah, #1 state in the country for porn. They love all that shit. They sexually repressed. That's half their problem.
I don't know. I just found that it's weird to me that, like, I see so many like conservatives, and I see a lot more increase in, let's see, what accounts who were saying Jesus Christ is Lord, and like, what I would consider conservative
Jesus
Republicans,
King.
Christian conservatives or evangelicals. I see a lot more of those, but I also at the same time see a rise in that. I see a rise in porn on Twitter, which is like, I'm surprised I'm not seeing a lot of these evangelicals saying, yo, we need to get rid of all this porn stuff on Twitter. But I don't know. I don't get it. Yeah, yo, Nina, I am not about to read that sentence that you have there. That's not happening. And Gregory says, shout out to he says here, I'll direct this question to you. Says, how do you guys feel about Maj Toure? Yeah. Do you even consider him right? Chris, your feelings on Maj Toure?
On who?
Maj Toure.
Yeah, what was the comment? Say it again.
How are your feelings on him?
again, he's one of those broken clock dudes to me, where he's going to be right twice a day, and then that's about it. Again, he's somebody who seems to be catering to a certain audience instead of just talking to people and appealing to people. He's attempting to appeal to more white folks than anything else. I don't know why. You don't have to. I just don't understand why you need to do that. Like, I don't try to appeal to niggas. I don't try to appeal to to white people, to anybody. If you rock with it, you rock with it. But it's not a. I'm not targeting a particular crowd and trying to get something out of them. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
I
saying?
mean,
I guess that makes sense.
I know I agree with that sentiment. I mean, I do feel like he's trying his best to cater. Not, I don't want to say cater. He is trying his best to appeal to the libertarian crowd, which tends to be a predominantly white crowd. Which, if that's
All
what you
right,
want to do, more power to you. Um, what was that? Oz just dipped out. All right, Oz, good to see you. But my thing is, if you put out your content and it attracts whoever, then that's good. But I don't feel like you should try to craft your stuff to look for a certain audience. I mean, I feel like we don't try to do that. We just do whatever content we feel is necessary, and speak from our perspectives, which it's the only thing we can speak from. I gotta read this comment from Thomas. Man, that's a disturbing statement here. He says, my 14-year-old daughter's Twitter account gets followed
Yeah.
by cam girls. Like,
Yep.
WTF? I made her leave Twitter. That place has gone to hell. And when
There's
I
a lot of
and
that now.
it's crazy to me. I hear people like who I used to kind of respect somewhat, like a Green Glenwall, who like talks about Twitter as if it's so much better. And I'm like,
I mean, it
no,
is. It.
it still has this. No, it still has the same amount of censorship. It has the same amount of shadow banning. The only thing is it's reversed it, and the shadow banning is went more towards people who lean left to far left, and it's kind of like if you are even slightly center right to as far right as possible, then you're welcomed on that side. And the old Twitter was just reversed. Now, and then when you get past that part, it's flooded with pornography, and then there's all these pay brackets that you have to deal with now, which I feel like all them forcing people to pay this or pay that to get more of this. And if you want to get your stuff shared, like for instance, even on the account which I have, which has the little blue check mark, like that's fancy, it doesn't really get very much outreach than my other channel does. Okay, one gets what, 10 impressions per tweet, and the other one gets 30. Yay. I mean, it's still limited. It's still hard to get out anything you have to say. And unless you decide that you want to pay him monthly for the premium, you want to pay like, I don't know how much, like what, $50 a month or something. I'm not
I
paying
have
you
no
all that
idea.
damn. I don't know how much it is, and I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
I
somebody
have no
somebody
clue.
can correct. I mean, somebody can correct us how much it exactly costs. But I'm not about to pay this dude just so that people can hear what I have to say. Yeah, Glenn Greenwald, his content has gotten, yeah, a little. He still does some good work here and there. And one thing that I've come to the conclusion on doing on all of these different channels, whether it's people who I rock with, where I like majority of what they're talking about, to people where occasionally I can agree with what
You
you're
agree?
talking about. I listen to all, and like I was always taught, you you take all the information you sort through it, and then you get out the information that's pertinent, that's valuable, that you feel like works, and you discard or you ignore the stuff that's nonsense. Um, that's the reason why, like, for instance, Redacted. I listen to Redacted when they have some stuff I can rock with, but when they just kind of go into back to their right wing, everything is right versus left nonsense and whatever. I
Yeah,
could
man,
care
we ain't
less
messing
about
with
it.
that.
I could care
Word.
less about it. But if you want to just give us the news straight up and bring out stories that either not talked about, and that's the reason why, like, what is it, TYT, Richard, what's his name, Dr. Richard or something like that. I'll listen to some of his stuff, but then every now and then he gets a little TYT and starts getting, you know, like I heard one interview he was having with like a libertarian, and I felt like the libertarian was trying his best to try to meet him in the middle, and he was intentionally going out of his way to make things more argumentative than they needed to be. And so that's where I had my issues with the conversation. Try to meet people in the middle. You don't have to be adversarial just because you're supposedly on the left and they're supposedly on the right, or that mentality of, well, this side is completely crazy and my side is great, and vice versa. That stuff is the big turnoff for me. Speak on the topics and issues. uh oh, sorry for going on my little rant. Yeah, what do you want to say on it, Chris?
No, man, I'm good. I was actually just, looking up at something and I see videos. These people bombing. They started bombing Kiev. I'm like, wait, what?
Kiev or Kiev?
Kiev,
Oh, Russia?
Ukraine.
Oh, Ukraine.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, because
yeah,
now the thing is, it's not Kiev anymore, because it was Kiev and Kiev, and then since this whole uh Russia versus Ukraine thing, now it's turned to, no, it's not Kiev, it's Kiev, and I'm
yeah,
like,
exactly.
okay,
Yeah, no, it's
um,
Kiev. I still say Kiev. That's the old way. Um,
yeah, but I feel like,
Marcus.
yeah, that we can lead into to that topic now, and because I definitely do want to talk about this, because I think that ties in with the attack that just happened on the Capitol. Um,
Marcus, they said ISIS. I said bullshit. We know what
yeah,
it is.
and for those who don't know what we're talking about, and if you've been under a rock, there's recently been a terrorist attack that's happened in Kiev in Russia. It happened at the, what was it called, the Kushkin, I'm
The
forgetting the name, something.
Crocus.
I think somebody in the chat help me out. Yeah, yeah, you're right, Myra's mom. His name is Rashad Ritchie, Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, it
but
was at a Moscow. The attack was at a Moscow concert hall.
yeah. I saw what, 133 confirmed. Oh, Cat says almost
130 dead.
150. Almost, yeah. So yeah, it was like 133 that I saw last amount, and that number could still rise or could be rising at this moment, because there, Crocus, thank you.
Yeah,
um
that's why I said Crocus.
yeah, I couldn't, yeah, it was the Crocus City,
Music
what was it,
hall.
music hall. And I don't know if you guys saw video of it, which I'm not going to show that here. I mean, I don't want to get it I don't want to get this stream, rated as adult or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't want to get it
But
yanked down, but if you guys didn't see it, you guys can look up, just look up Crocus, Crocus, Crocus City Hall. Just look up Russia shooting or anything like that online or anything. The videos, they show the gunmen, walking up into that theater, and they just, they took the safety off, and they just pulled the trigger. They were spraying and praying, and unfortunately they hit people, they killed people, they murdered people, they maimed some people. But again, always wonder why they do stuff like this. It really doesn't make any sense why you would shoot up a theater as opposed to an institution of power instead of powerless people if you really want to send a message. This message doesn't say anything other than, hey, come bomb the shit out of Ukraine, which is what is happening currently. And we know who plays with the mercenary group called ISIS. We know who runs that group of, we know who runs that group of mercs. You know, we already know who runs it. I'm not surprised. You got to think Langley. You got to think probably Tel Aviv. You got to think wherever MI6 is out of, Britain. You know what I'm saying? You just got to think of those cities, those places, and, let your brain go to work.
Oh, yeah, that's where it was. I got a video that I do want to show. And I'll let this video do the talking.
But how did these people get into?
I'm not letting it do the talking. I will go into and explain more in depth.
Marcus, I want to ask you this. Marcus, how they got into the country how these people got into the country like that? How did they get all the way to Moscow like that? How did they get, it's very weird because I don't think there would be very many brown-skinned Muslims going to these places because there are Muslims in Russia, but they're not the Muslim. They don't look like the Muslims in Syria or Iraq or Palestine or Iran or any of those other places. They don't really look alike. So I'm curious. Was this like a really deep sleeper cell that they just activated in Russia the other day, or were these people who were already there who fit in as to the point to where you really wouldn't even look at them, in that part of Moscow? See, I don't know that. I don't know the demographics on the ground there. You know what I mean? But these are just questions I would ask. You know what I mean?
Well, my thing is, from any of the pictures that I've seen, I didn't see any kind of dark-skinned people because they have, think I heard at least 4 people in custody, possibly up to 11 people in custody. In fact, perfect. I got the video.
Didn't they cut homeboy ear off?
That I don't know about. I don't know if they cut anybody's ear off. But
I don't know if it's true, but I saw a mention of it.
Let's see.
And then ISIS just comes out of nowhere. So look, keep in mind, Marcus, right? What's his name? What's the president of Syria's name? What's his name? Bashar al-Assad, right? I had to close my eyes to get that. So ISIS is fighting Assad in Syria. Assad, as we know, someone please call 911. He calls Russia, please help, right? They phone a friend. So boom. Russia's over there fighting ISIS in Syria. And this was several years ago. This was several years ago when they were at the height of their battle in Syria. ISIS ain't do nothing in Russia from that point on till now.
Well, this is what I'm saying here. Does this person look like an Arab Muslim to you?
In Espanol, they say nariz, nariz, nariz. Mira la nariz.
No, I'm not even gonna play it all. I'm gonna skip around, make sure I don't show anything too crazy. But this is what she says, Margarita Simonian. This is not ISIS. These are Ukrainians. This is what the
look. I was saying about that. I was saying that about Al Qaeda too. I'm like, for these quote unquote radical Muslims who are so upset about Israel being in the Middle East. Notice how none of these groups ever try to direct attack on them. Now, these are well-funded groups. They have way more weapons and shit like that. But, the Palestinian, but Hamas, they're whatever. I'm asking people to like really just use common sense. Like put away all of the media narratives. If it's a fire in your brain, pour water on that shit. Let it go, man. Accept some of the things that we're saying here. You don't have to take every single thing as we're saying as truth, but we're trying to get it right as much as possible, as opposed to just saying shit because it sounds good.
Well, this
You
is
know
one
what?
thing that I wanted to share. This it says, and this is her statement. Says, or I guess the editor in chief, one of these two people. But I just wanted to share this. It says it immediately became obvious why American media shouted out in unison it was ISIS yesterday because this is not ISIS. It's just that the actors were selected in such a way that they could convince the stupid part of the global community that it was ISIS, she added. Because the good point that was made within like 2 hours, after the attack happened, supposedly ISIS already phoned in to CNN and told them. And then all of the mainstream media was all screaming ISIS like before anybody had been arrested, KIA'd, anything, before anything had happened. Before,
Before they even ID'd anybody's, ISIS was already on the they was on the gram live like, hey you guys, I just want to show you all of the live stream of what I just did. Come on, man.
yeah, I mean, it was pretty sus, in my opinion. And that's why I was like, that don't sound right to me. Now, I mean, I could go to, what's his name? Oh no, I guess I'm frozen right now.
Yeah, I
Hopefully
see
this will
you
get
are.
fixed. But what was his name? Our buddy over there, Last American Vagabond, Ryan Christian.
Hmm.
Man, y'all need to look at his stream he did earlier today. He goes in depth, in deep, ties so many ties together. And one thing I do like about like following like a lot of his streams and checking out what he's doing over there is he doesn't, just because something seems likely or it could be possible, he doesn't just jump to automatically taking one or two things and saying, boom, this person did it. He's going to try to find as much evidence as possible to substantiate what he's
Correct.
saying and not just go on, instincts as many of us can do. And I give him credit on that. And before I even start doing any digging and ties to anything, my first instinct, and this goes to that that comment that Geography Pro left on Rockfin's side, where he said that he started drawing the ties to possibly U.S., Israel, and Ukraine, and that was one of the first things that came to mind. I mean, who else has a bigger motive than Ukraine right now? They're literally in a war with Russia. How are they not the
Keep in
very
mind the
first?
financial, and keep in mind the financial aspect, right? They have the United States and certain European countries have donated over 100 some odd $1 billion to Ukraine against. Oh, then we lost Marcus. But Ukraine has been on the receiving end of billions of dollars to go against Russia, right? Um, it's okay to let your brain think that some of that money would have gone to funding mercenaries and to getting them ready when phase one or phase two or phase three didn't pan out. So my thing is just they could have found a better target than a movie theater. So this is something that it's something we'll have to get more information on because I thought they could have made a larger impact. Why didn't they attack a military installation? Why there? I mean, is this because the thing about it is Russia's rhetoric when they were responding to it, unfortunately, sounded just like the people in so and so. So that was something that didn't that was something that wasn't lost on me, was the fact that they were like, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Well, it's war. Whatever we want to do is whatever we want to do. So does was this was this plan put into motion to have Russia look as if they're acting in the same way as Israel because of an attack? I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to hide under that. I don't know. But it's very weird and it's unfortunate because people did lose their lives. This 21st century for us is really going to be marked by the amount of deaths that we've witnessed online in our hands. I can't say for all of you, but for myself, it's been a lot over the years since 2011, 12ish, around that time when it got really just good, in terms of the quality, the phones, the videos, the screen sizes, etc. We see a lot of fucking death in real time. Um, Clearly, the people that rule these places, they don't value your life. What else is weird in this that I forgot to mention? Now I'm glad Marcus is about to jump back in to chime in on this. Didn't the State Department, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, didn't the State Department the day before these attacks put out a warning to those people tied up not tied up, but to the people in the embassy? Didn't they say, hey, avoid large crowds, kind of stay home, watch yourself, pay attention to the news? It's just ironic that they would put that out there, and then we had something like this happen. So if the United States intelligence apparatus was really working to the extent that it was, and they heard shit, in the wood, why wouldn't they in the wind? Why wouldn't they pass that along to the Russian government unless you wanted it to happen, or unless you orchestrated it to happen? That's something that we should be getting lost in the fact that we're actually watching bodies drop. And there's a lot of big names to mention. It's like, what is Putin's response going to be? What will Ukraine do? What will be the red line for the Western powers to, possibly not just defend them, but to take an offensive stance towards Russia? Who knows? But it's again, I will just always say it's unfortunate that people had to lose their lives. They went to a show. They went to City Hall to see a show, and 100 some odd people won't make it home, and that goes out. It's kind of like a spider web, right? It goes out to all the people who love them, who are expecting to see them later that night, or maybe the next day, or maybe the next week, what have you. It's sad that we have a bunch of cowards around. I'm just waiting for Marcus to get back so we can go. I don't want to keep going in on this topic because I know Marcus is going to have so much more to say about it. Right. So I'll put that on pause here. I just want to jump into some of the comments that some of the people have made, especially on the YouTube side. Jonina was mentioning Haiti earlier. Yeah, Haiti is currently a mess right now. You have gang warfare. Somebody's funding. There is a people's movement there, if you will. I don't want to use the word movement like that, but there are a certain amount of people, of Haitians, who are fed up with the government and the situation on the ground in Haiti. However, there are gangs who are funded by international forces. Money goes a long way, right? Money will make some people, maybe even some people in here, go against their own family, right? So when you start giving people who don't have any money in arms, don't be surprised whenever they decide to start chopping down their own people. Especially once, they're dead, they can't tell. Dead men tell no tales. So Haiti is unfortunately going through it as we speak. Again, if you look at Haiti, you look at who the gun runner is in Haiti, who has his own port in Haiti. It is another Zionist. Marcus, I didn't see it. I didn't see the comments on Rockfin. Post it here for me. Um, damn, I can't remember where I was at. But anyway, um, yeah. Oh, go look to see who the richest person is on Haiti. He's a Zionist. He's an honorary consul to the state of Israel. There's benefits there, otherwise he wouldn't be there. Okay, it is everywhere you look. Just pay attention. They are lurking everywhere. Oh, to the people in the crowd, I don't know if you guys watched it, but I watched that Nickelodeon shit. Did anybody watch that Nickelodeon thing? Since we're already on the dark side of things, I figured go there. We'll just hit the bottom and then, we'll go up from there. I don't know if anybody saw the Nickelodeon documentary. I can't remember the name of it, but it covers that dude, Dan Schneider. And, one of the focal points was the Drake Bell kid from Drake and Josh. I'm a little bit older than that. I was already outside when those shows were popular, but I kind of I remember hearing of them or hearing about them, but that wasn't anything that I watched. Or when I would go through the channel guide, your change of channels, you would see certain names of programs and shit. But again, Hollywood doing Hollywood. There was a lot of people within that industry who were fully aware of the nasty sexual proclivities of the people they were hiring, and they went ahead and hired them anyway, and they did whatever it is that they do, which is abuse children, put them in compromising situations. They separate these people from their family. Now you really do have to go back and look at people who have been through shit. um, in the entertainment world, when we all fall for the propaganda and the bullshit behind it that says, oh, so and so went crazy, oh, they're just crazy, no, a lot of people are not just crazy. They go through some shit. They don't know how to actually say it because there's probably a lot of consequences, not just to themselves but probably to loved ones, for saying certain things. So they're trying to get it out in code, and because they can't really speak in the way that we understand them fully, like when we always say name, say somebody's name, be direct, be direct. You don't know, they already know who you are, where you live, where your family lives. They know who matters most to you. And imagine if you wanted to say something or blow the whistle on somebody, and somebody slides you a picture of your daughter or your mother or your father or your son or your niece or your favorite grandma, and they say, hey, we know she's here all the time. Are you going to be inclined to just be like, yeah, fuck that, I got this, it is so and such and such who did? Are you willing to deal with the fact that maybe the people you love may not be around, or you may not be around them after you say something? It's it's a very difficult world. Watching that documentary or that program just made me think that the parents deserve a lot of smoke here in all of these instances. How do you leave your children around with these people? You already know they're fucking weirdos. If you want your kid to be, if your child wants to pursue, a career in commercials and modeling and acting, all right, cool. Yo, you're supposed to be there. You're not supposed to say, oh, okay, you can take my kid and spend the night. Oh, you can take my kid and go away for 2, 3, 4 weeks at a time. And not for nothing, but you should have prepared your children for any kind of shit. They shouldn't, you should have had certain conversations with your children if they're gonna be in there. Yo, you know what? These people, funny money, right? If they ever try to touch you, they ever try to tell you to drink something, they try to make you feel funny. If you notice they touching you to the point where you feel funny, number one, get away from them people, and you need to call me ASAP. It doesn't seem that they drill that kind of stuff into their kids' head. They don't seem to think about it, because once the money's rolling in and you're able to change your lifestyle, that maybe you'll look the other way, even as it relates to your children. So on one hand, I do feel bad for the people. On another hand, it's like, you know what? Maybe that is your karma for sacrificing your kid for your lifestyle to be different. Because there's no way that you should leave your children alone with people like that, especially who have especially people who have the habit of doing this. We look at whether it's Nickelodeon this time, Disney before. You just look at the amount of people who abuse children who work and live on these networks. It's way more than the average. You understand what I'm saying? But yet
What did
niggas
I walk
who have
into?
yet niggas who got weed charges can't find certain jobs, right? But you can fuck around and mess with these kids and then be hired on these movie sets and these programs to be put around children specifically. What does that tell you? That tells you that the people in charge really don't care about these children. They are quite okay with you doing this. Their belief system must tell them something. Anyway, Marcus, I'm glad you're back. I put a pause on the Russia shit. I had asked the audience if they had watched that Nickelodeon shit.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on right now. I don't know
Oh yeah.
what. I'm like, I'm so lost. Like, I'm like, how are we talking about pedos? Like, where did that go? Where did y'all go while I was away?
No, I put the Russia thing on hold now. I was talking about the
Oh, okay.
Nickelodeon documentary. I can't remember the name of it. I know they put it in the chat, but I was just going off on a tangent.
Yeah, it's a weird one to like come back to. Like, okay, all
I
right.
mean, I don't know if I lost the audience. I don't know if they was following along or paying attention, but you know.
Well, they probably was following along because they probably like caught like where you were going. But I just came in cold and I was like, I'm confused. But I mean, I yeah, Hollywood is a very gross place, so I get it.
The
Um,
thing about it is, you know, the word conspiracy theory, as these things go, yo, they don't hide much. When you really sit and look at it, they don't hide much of anything. They put it in your face, and the ones who are willing to discuss what they saw versus those who want to just ignore it, we're out of balance there because they had Ariana Grande on her back, hanging off the edge of the bed, pouring water down her, Quiet on the Set. Yes, that's the name of it. Thank you, Miguel. The Nickelodeon documentary is called Quiet on the Set.
hmm.
But then back to what I was saying, they had Ariana Grande, who we now know is this, talented, popular singer, right? She's had a lot of hits. She sells a lot of records. She's quite popular. But they had her laying on her back. If you ever watch Porn Dog, they had her laying in a sexual position. Like how when the dude's about to on Shorty Grill in one of these porns, that's the position they had her in as a fucking
Hmm.
child, B. And it's like mad nasty and disgusting that they had these people in there like that. And maybe the parents of the children watching these programs weren't paying attention because the kid is in the room watching it, and maybe you're in the living room folding clothes or cooking dinner or doing laundry, or maybe you playing on your phone or whatever it is you're doing. You're not watching these programs with your kids, the whole way through. Maybe you see a bit and piece of it here and there, but the sexual innuendo, the sucking on the feet, the fucking pickles in the glory holes, shit like that, just so sick. And again, if we talk about, what's funny? All right, let's put it this way. I could say, yo, the Indians in India, them dudes, there's a rape issue there. Because every time we turn around, just don't be like one or two guys raping a woman. It's like, it'd be a whole train car, man, raping them. So I can say that, yo, there's an issue there with a certain amount of that population, right? No one will say anything because the facts and the stories they've seen will support what I'm saying. Now, if we go to say like one particular group seems to like messing with kids more than other ones, then it's going to be a major problem. But if we want to be honest about it, there is a problem there. There's a major problem there. Major problem there. And it's been for a long time. I mean, look, that guy Polanski got a standing ovation.
Yeah, I mean, I I don't have much I can say. I mean, because not having any kids, I really didn't watch a lot of these programs, so I just it's something that I'm kind of ignorant to because I just didn't watch any of this to even for it to even like cross my desk in a sense. But I mean, I'll go and do some research and look into it and
Oh
see
yeah,
about it
you.
because yeah,
It's gonna be one of
I'm
those
like
things.
I don't even know I don't know
Look,
nothing about none of this.
It's gonna be one of those things. You gonna call me on my way to work.
Well, this is why this is why I say that like people, for instance, like when I hear conservatives will bring up some of this stuff, and when people will automatically just be like, "What are y'all talking about?" And they're like, "Oh, see, that's the liberals. They want to hide it." It's not that everybody's trying to hide everything. Some people genuinely don't know about these issues. They might not. Some people genuinely don't know about stuff that you might be talking about. Got to keep that in mind. That like everything is not kind of as open now for somebody who they know what they're looking at. They know how people hide stuff like this is like blatant or out there. But if you don't even watch the programming, you won't even realize it. Like I remember, was that Adventure Time? I noticed how Adventure Time was doing a lot of like throwing stuff with Satan and stuff in their programming. You know, they got like one of the main characters. He's doing the as's, the the Baphomet kind of signal. Um, and there's some of these which like literally just South Park that you know have people in bed with the devil and stuff. So I mean, all right, I get some of these programs. Look, granted, I think Adventure Time and South Park are more geared towards at least older kids or an adult, so that might be a little bit different. That might not count, but I've seen some of these shows where they're saying weird stuff. But
Real
that
quick.
honestly, if I think about it, that goes back a long way. Some of these
Oh,
cartoons have been, saying some stuff in it. And now, granted, I do realize some of these are geared towards adults, some of these cartoons, but some of these are definitely not. Some of these are geared towards kids, and they are sneaking messages in. Hey, Ruby says Adventure Time never felt quite kind of. Sorry, I messed that all up. Adventure Time never felt quite right, kind of messed up. Yeah, that's something like I don't know if that is geared towards kids or adults. I just know it got some weird shit in there that I've seen. In fact, I think I put one of the Adventure Time things in my video about was it Satanism in film or something like that. Not sure. Did I put it on the other channel or this channel? I don't know. I might re-upload it on here because I think that other channel is so badly shadow banned. Any kind of things I put on there just you know drop like a lead balloon. Um, What cartoon or kids show do you know that is not gearing demonic messages to kids? I can't
the
I can't even
Avatar,
say. I
the
don't watch
Avatar,
kids cartoons, so I don't know.
the Avatar, the Last Airbender. That shit is high quality for kids. Adults should watch that shit.
I mean, I watch some retro cartoons. Like I go back and watch X-Men and Batman.
Oh, X-Men 97 dropped. Did you watch it?
No, I haven't seen it,
Okay.
but I mean, I mean, honestly, I've been going back and watching shows that I didn't watch. Like I just finished The Wire. I'm watching Oz right now.
Oh God.
Oz is a wild ass show.
Yo, I told you Oz is different, dog. Yo, this man, yo, my cousin used to watch Osby. Yo, after a while, I had to stop watching Oz because it was way too flagrant after a while, kid.
I
Way too
mean,
flagrant.
I honestly avoided Oz because of I
It's
I told
flagrant,
people
kid.
I walked in on one episode of Oz and he was making dude do stuff with a spoon. And I
Yeah,
was like,
see, come on, son.
nope. I'm not watching this show. And I never went back to watch Oz. The only reason that made me even consider watching Oz, because so many of the characters I like from The Wire, I noticed, got their start in Oz. I was like, let me give this show a shot. And then I noticed there are a bunch of actors that you know from other stuff that you won't even realize like they were in Oz back in the day. Like a lot of people you wouldn't even expect that would have been in a show like Oz.
There's a bunch of
So
people in Oz. Everybody.
it's like, or people will just come by for, let me just do my little cameo. Let me just do my one episode in Oz. Like I was looking through the credits and 50 Cent is in Oz. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
I'm like, I guess I'll
yeah.
see it, eventually. Maybe he's in a later episode.
Everybody made every actor from everywhere made some kind of uh, uh, appearance in Oz, whether they were a visitor, whether they was an inmate for 2 seconds, whether they was related to a guard. Yeah,
Like I saw
yeah.
one
Oz
lady,
is a wild show.
I'm like, wait a minute. She was
Oh,
on some
Marcus,
show. She was on CSI, and I was like, oh, okay, I remember that lady. And I mean, there's so
Marcus,
many
so
people. Yeah,
is Omar on your list of baddest motherfuckers ever?
man, Omar is on my list of, besides his proclivities.
Yeah.
He's probably one
When
of my favorite so-called villains.
when you hear that whistle, it's time to move. He like
Yes.
Debo. When he said, "I'm gonna just tuck my," he said, "I'm gonna tuck my chain in." No, I'm just nah, nigga. Who coming? Debo. Nah, you when Omar coming, you gotta go, dog.
The cheese stands alone.
Yeah. Yeah, Omar coming, you gotta take off. Nah, we not playing them games here.
Like I
You
remember
can't.
that part, the part when he wasn't even jacking people no more, and people was just
Oh,
like
they were
throwing their
still
stuff
shook.
out. They just throw their
Yeah,
stuff out. They're like I don't want it with Omar.
it was like, yo,
This
Omar coming, yo, empty your pockets, dog. Here you go, dog.
Chris A said Lord Jamar was in Oz.
Yeah, he was.
Really? Goodness gracious. That's, well, honestly, that's probably how some of these people get these big how they podcasts and all that. Their YouTube channels be so big because they just running off past fame.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people was on that show, but that show was super popular too, right? That and The
Oh yeah,
Wire
yeah.
were crazy popular at the time they dropped. So, it was all over the place. It was a thing to watch it. Yo, I heard this bar from Big Sean. I just talking TV shows made me think of it. He said, "I'm in the office cutting off friends." I thought that shit was so fire. Oh,
Lord Jamar is
speaking
so
of
bad.
music, Lord Jamar, I know this is stupid shit, but there's maybe some people in here who follow hip hop and some who may not, you know what I mean? But we're versatile brothers. We could cover a lot of shit. We can walk and chew gum and follow directions at the same time. But there's beef in the hip hop world. Kendrick Lamar popped back out on the track with Future, and he was taking shots at Drake, and he took some shots at J. Cole, and it was on the song with Future. Future put out a project with the producer Metro Boomin, for people who don't know. But anyway, Drake was getting shot at. Drake
Oh,
was getting
Gregory.
shot at. Drake was getting shot at left and right. So now the hip hop world is waiting to see if he responds. And of course, no one knew initially what it was about, considering that all these people have done collaborations before and they've been on each other's tracks. They be on each other's social medias. They big each other up and all this shit like that. But of course, Future and Drake were fucking the same, the same woman, and it led to smoke between the two of them. So now we'll see if Mr. Drake comes out and puts out. We'll see if Drake drops a record and actually says Future's name and or Kendrick Lamar's name, because K Dot also was going at him too, but K Dot didn't really go at him on a personal level that Future did. But given that Kendrick Lamar is a star and we tend to consider him 1/3 of the big three, which would be Kendrick Lamar, Drake, and J. Cole, You know what I'm saying? More people are interested in hearing what Drake will say back to Kendrick Lamar, but he really needs to respond to Future because Future was the one who really was was giving him work, as we say. So we shall see. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to touch on that. You know, I do follow rap still. I do follow hip hop. I'm still very much a fan of it. You know what I mean? Some people still follow wrestling, so leave me alone if you feel like I shouldn't. You know what I mean? Enjoy your wrestling. Let me enjoy my music.
Mm. Just like it's funny you mentioned that, and mm, the ties I just saw. I was seeing Bad Bunny had a his little foray into wrestling world. He's wrestling somebody,
Oh, of
and
course.
like
I'm
he's
not
banging
surprised you're
somebody's
wrestling.
leg into the. I'm like, mighty, how do people
So they
watch
got
this?
Bad Bunny in wrestling, but that makes sense. He likes being around men in such
Oh,
tight in the in that capacity. I'm sure he's I'm
I
sure
don't
he's
believe it.
excited to
I
be
don't
doing
believe it.
that. Pause.
And then I noticed his he just had like a song that came out not that long ago. Him, Delegato, Yango Flow, and Arcangel. But back onto and I saw Gregory put in there. Ah man, that was a messed up one. He was like, "Where's Wallace Strings? Where the fuck is Wallace Stringer?" You remember that
Hmm.
scene, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
But back to I noticed I went back to my comments, and what I said is yeah, following up to what you were saying uh back on the whole Ukrainian thing, well,
Okay.
Russia Ukraine thing.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
they did release a report, or not report, an advisory to watch out for terrorist attacks,
Yeah.
um
Mm-hmm.
and concert venues and stuff like that. And what's her name? Newland. I'm blanking on her first name right now.
Victoria Newland.
Victoria Newland. She made some comments that was like, okay, I need to watch this. And then on to like what Ryan was covering on The Last American Vagabond. He showed this clip of this Israeli talking to RT and telling them, after we're done with the Israelis, I mean not Israelis, but Hamas, after we're done with them, we're coming for you, Russia, because you guys supported Hamas and all that. It's like, what? What are you talking about? And so was making a
You know what?
reference of a tie to that. And
Exactly,
I
sci-fi.
yeah, to be honest, I think they'll all be false
Cat.
flags,
I know. I agree, Cat.
which I honestly, if you want to ask me, and I'm gonna give my 100%, 1000% what I believe is actually happening here. You can disagree, you can agree. If people show me evidence to
Just look.
contradict
It's just your
what I
opinion. It's
believe,
just your
we'll deal with that at
Marcus,
that
this
point.
is just your opinion. This is just your opinion and your theory. You're not beating people in the head to tell them to take this as fact, right? So there's nothing
Right.
wrong with that because you're saying there's a great chance that I could be totally off with this. So I just wanted to
Mm-hmm.
put that I just wanted to put
Yes.
that out there for in
Thank you.
case people thinking that we're saying this is what's going to happen. We don't know. But we're looking at all the facts that we have available to us, matching that with the history of the characters involved, and this is the hypothesis that he's gonna put
Yeah.
forward. Sorry for stepping on your shit. I'm gonna shut up and go get
No,
something
no,
to
no,
eat.
no, no. It was a good, clear disclaimer. Uh, what I want to say is because this is going to tie to a bunch of things. Because when you go into like, and I wanted to bring this up after I saw what I when I saw a larger account bring up how, oh well, here's pictures of Putin with all these rabbis, and so that's proof that they're all tied together. And I used to go through this with other people when I have this discussion. Just because you see somebody in a picture with somebody at some point in time, world leaders are going to have pictures with damn near everybody. That doesn't mean that they agree with everybody they're in a picture with. You have to look more to what are they actually doing. And also, just because somebody in 2017 did something nice or did something that helped this person or harmed this person, that does not mean things are not static. That does not mean that that is still where that person is on the issue or with dealing with these different people. We got to remember all global politics, all politics in general is transactional. If you are not getting something out of this, then what is the point of you supporting it? All politics is transactional. Um, so, in saying that, uh, all I've seen is peaceful protests. The past few months have been very eye opening. Uh, hmm. But what I will say is, I believe what we're seeing with Russia is for even the little bit of where this little dance that they've been doing, because what Russia, the little dance that Russia's been doing is Russia's had a beef with Ukraine. And at the same time, Russia has is supporting the Syrians. Then at the same time, they have kind of had a careful dance they've been doing with Israel also, because a lot of their citizens are Israelis, and it went back and forth. So therefore, there's that balance. So Syria, you got the Israelis are on the other side of Russia. So they're against each other there, but they kind of trade off because, okay, well, because some of your people are there. So there's a little dance that they're doing delicately. So at one point, they're against Israel. At another point, they're helping Israel. So they're not, well, they're helping the community that has a tie to Israel. That is not necessarily the same as helping Israel. That said, I think that they've been trying to separate one thing from the other. And whereas I feel Israel is not separating anything. And they're getting to a point now. And I heard a guy say, after October 7th, the mentality in Israel, and I know people talk about, but there's the liberal Zionists, there's dead all that. They're all in the same thinking right now. The only thing is they have a difference on how they feel it needs to be done. That's the only difference. Whether we buy them all, whether we buy whether there are plane tickets and you fly all the Gazans somewhere else, or to the other side, who to the farthest extreme, the other side who feels like let's just obliterate every single one of them. All the Zionists pretty much want them gone. That's pretty much the mentality for the most part. Like 95% of them want them gone one way or another. Okay, so this gets back to my thinking on Russia. Russia, who's tried to do this dance of, yes, we're supporting the Syrians over here for this reason, and yes, we do support some of these different governments within the Middle East. We do have a high Jewish population, which some have came back, some have went to Israel, some have moved from Israel back to Russia, and vice versa. So they have this open corridor of people going back and forth. Also, there's plenty of synagogues in Russia, and so they try to, I feel, respect that. I feel Israel has changed that, the differentiating being so they feel like if you're not going to be on our side 100%, then fuck you. And I feel that's where Israel is kind of at it, where Russia felt like they can still kind of play this dance. And I think Russia is coming to the conclusion that they can't do this dance because Israel has also been big time funding Ukraine and also secretly sending in troops to help out. That's where ISIS comes into play. I believe ISIS is funded not only by the United States government, but they are also funded by Israel and Mossad in part. Um, I would even go as far as to say I wouldn't be surprised if majority of so-called Hamas and ISIS is basically just an arm of Mossad. What's this, Chris? This is a
That's in
bombing that's
Ukraine. Like
right
that's in
now.
Ukraine. Just like yeah,
Okay. Then I'll respond on that in a second. Um, so what I felt happened here is because Russia has been thoroughly kind of just dismantling Ukraine, and they haven't had to suffer much casualties in doing this. And Israel has a vested interest in Ukraine. Um, they're deciding, so we're losing this war kind of badly. Things are not going the way we wanted to inflict the harm we want on Russia. Also, we planned on going back on hitting Russia in other ways later on. Um, what we can do also with the fact of all the attention that's been on this whole Rafah crossing situation, if more attention is focused back on Russia, Ukraine, then it takes some of the attention off of some of the stuff that we want to do in Gaza. And hopefully the whole world will lose track and put all of their attention on focusing on Ukraine and Russia versus the upcoming operation which Israel has planned. That's what I feel is coming. So I feel like this has been these the ISIS the so-called ISIS fighters who have been embedded in within Ukraine and helping fight. I believe that they were tasked to go and carry this out, whether they organized it, trained it, were the actual ones on the ground, whether there were only the 4 people that they caught. This could be in partnership with some Ukrainians to some people from the Middle East. Being coming from because if you look at like where the Russians say that they caught the 4 people that were suspected, and I think it was more than 4 people. Um, I think that they're saying, and if you look at it, the trajectory coming from Moscow down to the area that they got caught, they were literally halfway between Kiev and Ukraine and Moscow. So it's pretty obvious they did it when they're going to try to get back to Ukraine because they knew they would be taken care of and on safe ground there. Um, so I feel this has all been a tie-in between the CIA, Mossad, and Ukrainians, mixture with ISIS being the hand of who's doing it. Because this goes back to also,
ISIS are the
huh?
bullets in the gun that the ISIS is the bullets in the gun that they use, right? And when the bullets hit and
Exactly.
then they die, it's ISIS that killed you. You understand?
And
I, you know, look, there's only so many options. And
well,
while
well, mhm.
it is good that
Well,
people do deep dives into this stuff and they do a lot of research. But again, you just really have to know who has the resources to do what. Geopolitically, ask yourself these questions: who has the resources, aka who has the money and the weapons? Who has the
well,
means to ship these money and these weapons around the globe undetected or to be get or able to pass through security measures and checkpoints? Go ahead, Marcus.
yeah, I want to respond to this. Baba said, "You sure it's not Russia?" The reason why I'm sure it's not Russia is because why would Russia need to do this? They
They're
have
already at
no.
war with them.
They're
They
already
can
at
bomb them
war with
all.
them.
They can
Um,
bomb them if they want to.
Now I get it. I get it. Some people will say, "Well, since it's considered a special military operation, and for people who actually understand what's going on as far as how the Russian government works, not the Western propaganda, because it's part of that special envoy. It's kind of I used the example of Leonidas in 300. Since they didn't give him the purview to completely go to war and use as many troops as he wanted, he was only allowed. He was allowed to walk around with his guard of 300, and those are the men who guard him. And he just said, "Well, I'm just happened to take a walk." And so if something happens, then yes, then we're able to fight, even though in his mind, him and his 300, we're going to war. This is the same thing with Russia's, this little, however they want to term it. Well, he just took like it's just a small like military exercise were happening. That's the reason why they're mostly using like that's why they were using like different people, like a lot of these mercenary groups, and this is why they're using the reservists and all that, even though Russia has their active duty military, because he's not allowed to just go on ahead and take them for this. But now he is. Now he can unleash on them. And so Russia didn't have to do this. Ukraine was losing anyway. They were getting to a point where all they had to do was keep, war of attrition and just let them kind of go. But now he can just go in and just really drop the hammer on them. And I don't think that I don't see Putin as the type that he's going to sacrifice 133 of his own people for that. I don't see that, because on top of it, it's also quite an embarrassment that that something like that would happen, that if he allowed that. That's an embarrassment on a Russian president, and that looks negative on you. So I don't see them doing that. Russians tend to be very prideful people. So I don't see them as a type that he's going to allow himself that he's going to come up with a plan to attack his own people just to attack the people that he's already attacking at a higher level. But since that has been done, and what Chris was showing, that bombing run that's basically going on, what this is Putin already knows where these Western cutouts are at. He knows where the CIA and MI5, and he knows where these people are, the FSB. I mean, not FSB, but I'm trying to remember what are the German ones called. The
So it looks as if they're
He
striking
knows,
Marcus.
yeah.
It looks like places in Crimea are getting hit right now too.
Yeah,
From
he
what I can
knows where
see
these
online,
places. He knows where, because more
Crimea
than
is getting
likely,
bombed.
that's probably where like CIA and Mossad and different people like that are hanging out. He knows where all these people are who gave the green light on this stuff. Now, to us, it might come across as like, yeah, he's just attacking a bunch of random people. But to the intelligence community, they know where each other are at. And now he's letting them know, I know where you're at. And that happens a lot of times. You might know that this is a CIA spot, but you don't do anything about it. And now he's hitting those people who probably feels like, he doesn't even know we're here. Isn't Ukraine bombing Crimea because
Marcus,
Crimea is part of Russia?
all of this stuff, to bring it back to American politics, I just want to say this. You have all this stuff happening, and then you still have people like, oh, Donald Trump is going to save us. As if that dude is not also as if he's not controlled by the same element, right?
Bro, did they see my clip that I just put out? Did you see it?
No, which one?
I'm gonna find it real quick if it don't kick me out. Hopefully it lets me get away with it.
But yeah, I laugh to see them look at Donald Trump and, oh yeah, he'll save us, even as they're starting to see who is what. But again, like I said, these are people who see everything, but they see nothing simultaneously. So they can see that everything is controlled by them except Donald Trump, but they won't look at. Anyway, these are the same people who knew that homeboy liked young girls, and they're like, oh, it's only the Clintons. He testified against him, or he gave the authorities stuff against him. Okay, but prior to all that, you knew what he was doing with little girls. That still makes you, complicit in that shit. You understand? Did you read? Oh.
Yeah, I got it. This is a scene from Oz. that I ran across. This is why also it helps to go back and watch some of the stuff you've seen before,
Uh-oh.
because
Go ahead,
you you might not have you might not have realized something that you saw back in that time because it didn't matter at that point. But when I saw this, I said, "What the hell?" Let me see. Is it back at the beginning? Okay, so let it get to the beginning first. This scene is like this is the great Eric Roberts here with his scene with BD Wong, which this is a fantastic scene. Very sick kind of character. But this is like the 5th episode, I think.
Thank you, Thomas. Exactly, Thomas. Those things. Why would you say that as you walk into a room full of either naked or half naked, 15, 16,
Here it is.
17-year-old?
I can't say that I have. Well, they serve them every year at the Bohemian Grove. What's that? That's a restaurant? Oh, man, you never heard of the Bohemian Grove? Oh, it's a retreat in San Francisco, for investment brokers, bankers, politicians, intellectuals. Amazing, I'm hip to it. Of course, I grew up in the Bay Area, so we always knew when it was happening. Even as a kid, I always wanted to go, Wow. Wouldn't that be something? Swim in the Russian River with some Secretary of State. Pissing on a redwood next to Donald Trump. I mean, these guys are the elite. Men of power. Men. Have you read Wolf?
You caught that?
Mm-hmm.
Now, he was talking about Donald Trump back then in the Bohemian Grove.
I mean, and let's just say that doesn't place him there, right? Let's just say that he's never been there. Let's give him that, right? You're friends with all of those people, bro. All of them people do everything. You're not you. It's not just a coincidence that everybody you're friends with does the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, all of these people are all tied in, and
these are all people who
wasn't.
These part of my language, but these are all men who wouldn't get no pussy if they didn't have no money. That's why they're weird. I keep telling you, Marcus, and it sounds basic as fuck, but that's really what it is for a lot of these hanger-ons and the ones, not the leaders per se, but all the little strap hangers and the little do boys and all that. Dog, they got to do this to get money so they can possibly get some pay for some ass fee. They just not used to it. That's why they do that.
The thing is, what I hold to this wholeheartedly is I hear all these people and they're talking about, oh well, who's the superpower, or is America the superpower? Israel? Yeah, we're the superpower, but what you guys don't get is in South Africa for the longest, the white Dutch population was controlling South Africa, but they weren't the majority, right? You don't always have to be the majority. You don't always have to be the bigger person to have the control. I mean, if you, I'm like, let's go back and explain something. What's his name? I'm trying to think of it. I'm forgetting. Netanyahu. Bibi Netanyahu laid out all the enemies of Israel, including Russia, being one of the enemies. And we have been nonstop obsessed with all the enemies of Israel. Mm-hmm. You look at who owns a lot of the casinos, who owns a majority of the sporting teams, whether that's basketball, football, baseball, hockey, every sport in America. If you look at a lot of these hospitals, who they're owned by, if you look at the diamond industry, you look to majority of the industries, Hollywood, the music industry, all throughout it, it is majority controlled by people who tie to Israel. Even if you look into BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, who
are
control
they?
majority of the shit. Who are they controlled by?
Correct.
And
Who?
then people are still trying to figure out why Joe Biden can't tell Israel not to do X, or why they won't stop sending the money. Because what I try to get across to people is, think about this. If you go back further enough, good one. Sci-fi brought up, and sexual blackmail is their favorite tactic. Okay. Do you know, even over in Israel, that they have basically Israel has a Jeffrey Epstein over there, who Jeffrey Epstein's that population over there too? I mean,
It wouldn't be surprising, Marcus.
here's the thing. Does anybody ever try to look into actually who owns the federal banks? I'm not just talking about the American Federal Reserve. I'm talking about the Bank of London, the Bank of Singapore. Go through the list, the Bank of France, all of these federal banks. Who actually owns these banks? Because when you find out who has the ties, who owns these banks, then you stop paying attention to what you think a president can do, what a prime minister can do. These people don't have no power in anything. Even these corporations, they're not the ones who wield anything.
And
Everything.
Marcus,
One last thing. I learned
yeah.
this before I even start looking down this pathway. When I was in college and I was studying the major depressions and recessions in America, because the ones I studied up to that point, it was like 13. Up to now, it's even hard to count it because of the way they count different stuff. But let's say roughly we have about 17, 18 depressions and recessions in American history. And we've had like 5 or 6 depressions. I know everybody only thinks about the one in the 20s, but we've had multiple. And do you know the cause of every single one of these depressions and recessions? The banks. Every single one of them. And I wasn't even an economics major. Now, I did notice some of this when I was studying business administration before I switched to history. But when I started studying history, I was able to tie in what I learned from business world and what I saw in the history books. And I was able to see that clearly. Now let's fast forward up some years to my knowledge now. I remember one quote: "I care not who sits on the throne. I care not who sits on the throne, but I care about he who controls the money supply, and I control the money supply." It's that
Control the
damn
money.
simple.
You
You
control the
control
money.
the money, you control people. And
Yeah.
if you look at which nations have been outside of that influence as far as the banking, you look at places like Cuba, you look at places like Iran, you look at places like Venezuela, you look at places like Russia,
North Korea.
North Korea. There's only a handful of places. And what do you notice about all those places? Every single one of them is demonized and looked at as they're obviously evil, and all of their leaders are evil, and they're the problem in the whole entire world. Why? Because the people who want to control these places can't. That's the reason why Russia is always demonized so much as the enemy. Now, I'm not saying that Russia is this benevolent place and they don't do some of the same crooked shit all these other leaders do.
Yeah,
But
correct.
why they're demonized so much as the bad guy is because the bankers have not been able to get their hooks into controlling that country. I'm not going to say that they don't have. I'm not going to say they don't have some hooks into that country. I'm not going to say they don't.
Yes, they do.
I'm not going to say. And at one point, they did have a very strong grip. The bankers had a very strong grip on that country, but they lost that. And because they lost that, that has been a thorn in their side. I don't even know if I would say a thorn in their side. It's been that one thing that has pissed them off and it aggravated them. and motivated their hatred towards that place. Now, there's more reasons why they have that hatred towards Russia, but they hold a very special hatred and ire towards Russia, and that's what you see through our politicians like the Hillary Clintons and all these people who always Russia, Russia, Russia. It
And
goes
Marcus,
back to a lot of these people and their descendancy and their ancestry and their history in that country.
You had mentioned about sexual blackmail. I heard you say
Mm-hmm.
the problem is not so much sexual blackmail in terms of what you would do with a woman, right? Because obviously you don't want that filmed and you don't want that out to the world. But you know what? If your sex tape drops with a woman and you're getting it in with a woman, again, yeah, it's like, I didn't want the world to see that, but hey, look, I'm getting it in, right? I'm doing my thing.
It works for some of them, though.
There's not this. What I'm saying is, man to woman is not a whole lot to be embarrassed about, other than the fact that you just didn't want your shit out there. They can't hold that.
But when you're married, though.
Yeah, when you're married, yeah, of course. But I'm saying they can only hold that over you to a certain extent. If you go and tell your wife, yeah, mom, look, I fucked up. This woman and these people holding it over against me because they want you to divorce me and screw. Maybe you could explain your way out of that, right? But the problem is that they got all these people doing all of this forbidden sexual shit. I'm not just talking about consensual adult affairs. I'm talking about the fucked up parts I'm talking about abuse. Well, this is what they have on film. This is the blackmail they have. So I just want to make that distinction, right? Because it's one thing to say sexual blackmail, it's another to say you have child abuse and rape.
But I don't think, I mean, though I do believe that goes on, I don't even think they need that. I don't think they need it to that degree all the time. I mean, but think about it like this. Remember one of the first major celebrity divorces that happened? Johnny Carson back in the day. Everybody's blown away when she hit him for $50 million. Blown away. Some of these people, that comes out that they're even just cheating.
Exactly. Streets.
That destroys everything. And not only does it destroy their career, their position, it can literally be their money also. Half of their fortune gone. And so sometimes I'm not saying that it's not the nefarious stuff. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm not saying it's not the abuse stuff. But sometimes you don't even need it to that level. Sometimes it can just be the embarrassment. What happened with Larry Craig? Correct. Larry Craig is this conservative who's supposed to be all godly and this and that, and then you get busted trying to solicit for homosexual sex. That destroys your career with the evangelicals. And I think it's a whole lot more homosexuals out there than they like to admit, who trying to play the I'm the husband who takes care of, and then you have the ones who are just out. Now I think that worked for the longest, but I think that doesn't work nearly as much anymore. So yeah, now they are leaning more towards you doing some extra stuff. Let's not only have that. Let's have you popping some fentanyl too. Let's have you bringing a goat in the room. Let's have you doing all kind of stuff.
Yeah, no. So we're in the current moment right now, and Marcus, it's like 2.5. So I gotta
So. That's all I pretty much have on this topic. But I honestly like. To close up on what I think on this Russia, Ukraine, Israel stuff is, I think that Russia really, and you go back to Vladimir Putin in the 90s. Vladimir Putin was kind of naive and really thought I could just do business with the West, and I could do something different that no other Russian leader's been able to do, not realizing that no, you weren't going to be able to make this work out on this business tip, because the West isn't about trying to do business with you. The people who really control the West, they want you subservient to them. They don't want no partnership, Russia. They want you under their boot heel. And also, even if they did get you under their boot heel, more than any other nation, they want to embarrass you. They want to hurt you because they feel hurt by Russia. And if you
Mm.
don't know what I mean, you can look back to when Russia booted a whole lot of people out and they happen to end up in Germany. From
Mm-hmm.
that point on, they have never forgiven that. And I'm not talking about all the people as a whole, but those ones who are in power, they've never forget that. And they've considered that, just like how Putin talks about how it was such a horrible thing, how the Soviet Union collapsed. Well, many of them look at them losing power in Russia and being booted out of Russia was the same kind of horror. And if you look at the mentality of some of these groups of people I'm talking about, they live on vengeance. And once they feel like you're on that evil side or you're on the wrong side, forever you're going to be their enemy. In every attempt they're going to be thinking, even if you forgot about the shit, they still want to stick that knife into you because they live on that vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll
Mm-hmm.
leave it at that. And who can read through the lines and figure out what I'm talking about, I'll let you do that.
Correct. And then lastly, just wanted to just touch on, the X-Men 97 came out. That shit was actually, I seen that episode. What else? Shogun is still pretty good. I recommend that. BMF is out. I'm watching that too. I don't watch much. We got basketball coming up. As I said, I don't watch the tournament. I mean, I'm not into college like that this year, so I didn't watch it. But the NBA playoffs is getting ready to start. There's on average, about 14 to 15 games left in the NBA season before the playoffs get to popping. That's my favorite time of the year once the basketball playoffs start, because despite all this bullshit that we go through, that we discuss and all that, you know what? There's not much that we can do about it. So you know what? You do have to find the moments and times to enjoy yourself in this thing called life. It can't be all, oh my God, do you know this? Do you know that? Da-da-da. Look, you know what? If you take a break from it to find something enjoyable, the same problem is going to be there for you to talk about tomorrow. You know what I mean? Don't get lost in the negativity and the doom and gloom of shit. Enjoy the people that you love. Crack jokes, smile, get a little bent, smoke something. You know what I mean? Hug a baby or do something. Don't get lost and don't again, don't get so depressed over it. I know shit is fucked up and things could be way better, but just don't forget to live too. You know what I mean? Don't forget it because you need to do that.
Yeah, most definitely. And thank you for anybody who's new to the channel. I noticed we had a couple of new subscribers, and appreciation to anybody who is their first time hopping in with us, or maybe they've hopped in with us, but first time getting into the chat. Glad to see y'all all. Much love
Yeah,
to
thank you. I
everybody.
appreciate it.
And
If you would just hit the like button or something, or tell a friend or two that there's two crazy black guys on YouTube who talk mad shit, we would appreciate that as well. You know what I mean?
well, what I would say more than anything, since I know the algorithm don't care much for us, if you really want to help us, the best way is retweeting us, post us on your Facebook, any kind of outlets, or just even word of mouth. Talk to people about the topics that we bring up and invite them to go hop in, even if they don't catch it live with us. And they watching it the next day or whenever, break it up whenever they want to watch it. Just give us a little advertisement. Just put us out there, and that's much appreciated. But that
Okay.
said, we're gonna close it on out. Much love to everybody, and y'all have a good weekend.
All right, everybody. Peace out. Y'all appreciate it.